Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse. This is episode 319. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Matt.
Hey, bang bang.
And one day Connor will have a day off when we record again. I swear it will happen.
Today is not that day.
But today's not that day, no. But it is Solicits Day. It's Solicits Week. Meaning that's what we'll be doing on the show, as well as discussing the following books. We'll be talking about Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler issue 1, Nightwing 95, The Flash 785, Batman Superman World's Finest issue 6, Batman The Night issue 8, and Black Adam issue 3. So that is what's coming up on today's show. So
I had every intent on reading that Scooby-Doo book, and I did not have time.
oh, that's a shame.
I bought it and everything. So
I forgot. I'll be honest. I always forget that exists. So
yeah,
even if there was
that's
jokes
fine
about you reading it for this week, it completely left my mind. But hey, so yeah, another week, another batch of comics. It's finally cooling down after the hotter weeks of the summer here, I'm happy to say. In fact, I am wearing jeans today. I'm not wearing shorts. That's the first time in months on this show. Just for anyone who's keeping track.
Well, it's a cool 92 here in the desert. I'm trying to switch that to your degrees. That's not letting me.
20 something probably.
It's hot. Let's see, there it is. 33.
33. Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah. For here it is. And we had 40% humidity playing football this morning, so it was damp. It's very damp out and hot. So
we've not even hit that once this year. So I know that's horrible. Don't worry, everyone. We do have solicits, but there's always time for actually. Matt, what do you want?
What do you mean? What do I want?
Well, I mean, you know, what's your favorite Space Girls lyrics?
Oh, what I really, really want.
You never say it right. It's tell me what I want, what I really, really want. That's what you say.
That's part of the bit. That's part of the bit.
Just it's a Comixology top 10. That's what the answer to the question is. That's the important part. Anyway,
no one wants this but you.
Comixology top 10 at the time of recording. Any guesses as to what number one is, Matt?
Well, there's 2 X-Men books out. So now it's a toss-up between Nightwing and X-Men 13. So I'm going to go X-Men 13.
Hold on a second. I'm having some some weird anomalies here. For some reason, there's no DC books in this.
Oh no.
And I have DC selected. I've double checked. I'll refresh the page and do it again just to get an accurate thing. But we maybe have. Oh my god! Stop it! I'm clicking the wrong window. It's odd. Technical faults, technical difficulties. It's all Connor's fault somehow. I got Marvel, DC, Boom, Dark Horse, Archie, Titan, Image, IDW, Dynamite. I'll do apply. Where's the DC book? Like DC did not do this poorly this week. I've got a good feeling they didn't.
Yeah. No, the list of books that we had, especially with the Riddler book by King and Gerads.
Yeah, there's some not quite. Because I was thinking, this is a very Marvel heavy top 10, and I sort of scrolled down to where the hell's the DC books? And I don't see any. Like, anywhere. The Comixology top 10 might not be a thing this week, guys.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what's happening. We're having some odd issues here. Oh well. That's distressing.
Okay, well, I can read what the one on League of Comic Geeks was.
Of course you can. You're already looking at that list.
Yep.
Oh dear. Yeah.
This is fun.
No, it's not fun. This is horrible. This is a disaster. The whole show's been ruined. I guess we'll
Just scrap it. I guess we have a short show this week.
we'll start on Solicits in a minute, man. It's not going to be that short.
Comics good. In tweet.
All right, well let's look at the Solicits for November then, since that's
Shoot. Well, the League of Comic Geeks had Nightwing 95 at number 1, X-Men 13 at 2, Hulk 8 at 3, World's Finest at 4, Daredevil 5, New Mutants at 6, Batman the Knight, really good showing for Chip at 7, Star Wars at 8, Flash at 9, and Strange number 5 at 10. So no indies on there. That's all DC and Marvel. And it's about 50-50 split. So there you go. That was your Comixology / League of Comic Geeks top 10.
This was a disaster. This was horrible. Oh. That did not work at all. Let's look at the November 2022 DC Comics Solicits and work through them. I've seen a couple of things from it, but I haven't actually looked through the main list. So let's have a trek through, shall we? First thing here is Batman and the Joker: The Deadly Duo, issue 1. It's a new 7-issue miniseries written and also drawn by Mark Silvestri. So we have a new Batman and Joker mini because these two characters need more books.
Yeah. You want your Mark Silvestri drawn Batman? Here you go.
I'll read the solicit text here since it's a new series. The Joker will go to any lengths to get Harley Quinn back after she's abducted by a strange culprit. But who? Mysterious Joker-like monsters are stalking the streets of Gotham, collecting severed heads. But why? Jim Gordon is missing, and after receiving a package containing a bloody piece of Gotham's commissioner, Batman knows he must be willing to do anything to save him. But how? When the Joker proposes an uneasy alliance with Batman, answers to those questions begin to become clear. They will shake Gotham City and the Bat family to their core. This meticulously crafted tale of the Dark Knight's deadliest team-up will introduce you to the grim and gritty Gotham that only Mark Silvestri could bring you. I'm not going to lie. I'm not feeling all that positive about this premise.
No, you got Batman and Joker, you got them teaming up, and then you get grim and gritty, and I'm out. No offense to Mark Silvestri, even though that dude cut me in line to meet Mark Waid. Not that I'm holding a grudge. I eventually got to meet Mark, but Silvestri still cut me.
You're holding a grudge. What? I have no problem with the grim and gritty if it's in the right place. Batman teaming up with Joker is a bit of a forced concept to me. Joker monsters going around the I don't know. All of this just feels kind of throwaway miniseries.
I'm missing Harley. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's got some cool variant covers.
I mean, sure, it's a Batman book. You get tons of variant covers.
There's a Fornes one I'm trying to get to.
There's one that's it's like the Joker, but his mouth is actually a gap, and his mouth becomes the city looking up at Batman. It's an interesting cover.
That's the Fornes one.
That's a good cover. I'll give that. Oh, issue 2 is also solicited here as well.
Oh, look at that. That's on sale in December. So there's the 1st of November, and then the second one comes out the 6th of December.
I guess they're doing some early December solicits since December is going to be later because of Christmas. So we'll see. We'll see how that shapes up as we go through this. Then we got Batman 129. Not much to say really. Interesting enough. Cover or covers, I should say.
Yeah.
So
Failsafe hanging upside down like a bat.
Yeah. Then the Zuenrar covers. Is that a Matina? It is a Matina. Looks Matina-esque. Yeah.
It does.
And the rain, very very atmospheric. Batman 130 is also solicited here. So again, this is for the 6th of December. This is the first week of December. So it looks like we're getting the first week of December solicits in this batch as well, just in general. Ooh. So very good.
Is that a Delato cover with the dinosaur in the back?
That is pretty neat looking. Yeah. It almost looks like Pixar-esque on that cover, actually.
Yeah, he does. He is a Mr. Incredible vibe.
Yeah. So that's actually the final issue of the Failsafe arc in issue 6. Or sorry, issue 130 in December. So Cool, that's when that's wrapping up. So that's wrapping up just in time for the end of the year. Batman Spawn the Collection, so that's just a collection of the old issues, so that's cool. Batman One Bad Day, Mr. Freeze, this is a Jerry Duggan written issue with Michael Scalera on the art. So very cool front cover. With Freeze holding up a very Freeze helmet shaped snow globe with Batman and Robin in it. Very neat. Very, very cool. Then we got the New Golden Age issue 1. I did not know about this. Jeff Johns writing with Steve Lieber, Jerry Ordway, and Diego Olortiga on art. So this is a 48-page one-shot. Let me read what this is.
Yeah.
From the Justice Society of America to Legion of Superheroes, the New Golden Age will unlock DC's epic, secret-ridden history of heroism, launching a new group of titles set firmly in the DC universe. From the 1940s to the 3040s, heroes take on the great evils of their time. But in the aftermath of Flashpoint Beyond, oh god, some of this stuff's spitting out of that. Those heroes and villains will have their lives turned upside down, turned upside down. DC's future and its past will never be the same again. But how are Mime and Marionette connected to this? What is happening, man? Why are Rip Hunter and the Time Masters the most unlikable heroes in the DC universe? Easy, they're boring. And who?
How dare you? Rip Hunter's not boring.
And who or what is nostalgia? Don't miss the start of the strangest mystery to have ever plagued the DC universe. So obviously we'll get to the next book in a second here, which this is clearly going to lead into. But it says it's leading to a few books, so we'll see what else comes of this maybe in the months following.
Did you ever peg Flashpoint Beyond as a secret follow-up to Doomsday Clock? Because no way did I ever think that.
I mean, I guess it... Do you know what? This is interesting. So John's just doing this one shot, and then, of course, the other big news, the more exciting news coming out of this, is Justice Society of America Issue 1, a new ongoing series written by Jeff Johns and art by Mikel Janin. That's a biggie. That's a game-changing excitement thing. It's exciting because it might be like proper Jeff Johns again, like back to an ongoing superhero comic. And, you know, I think JSA can mostly stay off in its own corner. He doesn't have to worry about the rest of the DCU.
No. So I shared this when it came through earlier in the week, and Connor surprised me by going and shrugging, because I don't know. I'm
never surprised when Connor goes and shrugs.
I know, but like I don't know, John's writing Justice Society after so long of him not. I feel like it's okay, like especially like you just said, it's off in its own corner. He can kind of do what he wants, and if there's someone that's playing with the time stream in DC, I trust Johns, so I'm very excited for this.
I would just like a good Jeff Johns ongoing comic again, because it's been a while. Obviously we love Doomsday Clock, and that was this big event style comic book, but everything, all these little things that he's been doing here or there since have just been kind of whatever. None of that magic's really been there. I'll read the solicit text for this though. The JSA returns in this monthly series by writer Jeff Johns and artist Mikel Janin with Justice Society of America, The New Golden Age Part 1. The world's first and greatest superheroes return, or do they? A long-lost hero of the GSA crashes into our era with a grave warning, but it's too late. A mysterious and malevolent enemy has invaded the entire history of the GSA, and an all-new team must come together to defeat it. But what deadly secret does this messenger from beyond keep? Where are they from, and why is all of this happening now? Only the Time Masters know. So this is very much all spinning out of obviously that one shot, but also Flashpoint Beyond. So this is kind of interesting. It definitely does sound like, while a lot of the old teams on the cover, that this is probably going to be the formation of a new team, with Helena Wayne being one of the key members.
Yeah, and if you go to one of the other covers, I think it's the Not cover, there looks like there's a Robin there too. So that's interesting.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, because it's a Dark Crisis as well, because they showed up in the last one. So how do they tie in to that? Because the JSA exists there, and it seems like here they're just not returning. So
that would make me think that Dark Crisis is going to alter the timeline so that JSA are back to being Golden Age heroes that don't exist in the present day.
Right. So, honestly, I mean, I'm here for this. So, I love the JSA.
resetting the timeline to put them back in the past again does mean that you're losing a little bit of that legacy stuff and some of the other the younger characters, but we'll see what they do with it, and we'll see kind of what this new team is. This might be like an exciting new epic that we start here with whatever this new team of characters is.
Yeah. Well, and on top of it, when the last solicit for the Golden Age thing, they talked about all the way to the future. So like if we get the idea of the Justice Society as a team that has existed from the 40s up till now, and so you might have Jay Garrick running around because of the timey-wimey stuff with some of these younger characters, and it would still make sense. So maybe we can still get that legacy thing, but yeah, this is real cool.
No, I'm excited for it. I was not expecting a GSA by Jeff Johns in it. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting any ongoing books by Jeff Johns ever again. So this is kind of a pleasant surprise in that sense.
But wait, there's more.
Okay. Stargirl, The Lost Children, issue 1, written by Jeff Johns and art by Todd Nuck. This is a 6-issue miniseries, and maybe this is finally going to pay off that one shot it seemed like it was setting up a new Stargirl story.
The summer school special or whatever it was. Yeah.
Well, was that like 2 years ago now? I feel like that was ages ago.
It feels like it was 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is coming in November. An epic teenage DC hero event brought to you by Teen Titans writer Jeff Johns. I guess because it's a teen hero, they're specifying that. But I feel like JSA is more relevant given that's what she was in when he was writing her, but whatever. An iconic Young Justice illustrator Todd Nuck. When Stargirl of the Justice Society and Green Arrow's ally Red Arrow discover a tragic teenage hero from the past has gone missing, they set out to find him, only to discover that he's not the first teenage hero of the Golden Age to have vanished without a trace. But where have they gone? Who are they? And what does this childminder want with them? So this is interesting. This is like a whole line of John's GSA related comics coming out of this one shot. Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
So last year I went back and read that Stargirl series. It had been forever since I read it, and it was still pretty decent. And I mean, there's a bit of 90s cringe going on with certain things, but this whole concept with Courtney, and then you're throwing Emmy in there on top of it. There's another one. Like, DC, stop making me buy stuff, right? Just I'll be happy to ignore things if you stop putting out good things.
Yeah, so we get a one-shot start of a GSA ongoing and the first issue of a 6-issue Stargirl mini, all starting in November, from Jeff Johns. That is pretty exciting stuff, and I'll be excited to talk about those when they come out. So, very neat. So, cool. Blue Beetle Generation Day. Blue Beetle Graduation Day, issue 1. This is a 6-issue miniseries starting in November. Josh Trujillo and Adrian Gutierrez on the art. So it's a Jaime Reyes book. Which you might guess, given the names of the creators, that they're intentionally going for creators of a similar background. Jaime Reyes has a lot to juggle, whether it's his finals for senior year or a new villain tearing up El Paso. Jaime is always torn between two worlds, but when his worlds come crashing together at his high school graduation, nothing will ever be the same. A message from the Reach bombards Jaime's scarab, Kajida, and starts throwing off his connection to the device. And as if that wasn't enough, Jaime's parents and friends are pressuring him about his next steps in life. But what's hidden here on Earth that's drawing the Reach back? And where did his new fadeaway man come from? Can Jaime find balance in his life and rise to become a true hero, or is it curtains for the Blue Beetle? So I think what's interesting about this is that it's cool that obviously Jaime's getting a miniseries because it's been a while since Jaime's had a book. Way back at the start of Rebirth, it's kind of the last time, I think.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that he's graduating from high school, so they're kind of actually aging the character forward a little bit, so that next time we see him, he presumably will be either in college or, I don't know, maybe he'll have a job or something. But so that's interesting. He's been taken out of that high school kind of bubble that he's been in ever since he was created with this miniseries.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm curious if it's out on a slower week. I'll for sure check this out.
Yeah, I don't recognize either of the creators, so I have no quality expectations on this yet. But I'm happy that it exists. I'm happy that Jaime's getting another thing.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I mean, it also could be due that we're still supposed to be getting that series, right? Or is it a movie? A Blue Beetle?
It's a movie for HBO Max, but
yeah.
After the Batgirl fiasco, I'm not so sure I would hold my breath for her.
Yeah. Well, the guy Josh Trujillo has written Adventure Time, Captain America, and Rick and Morty. So nothing that I've read.
No, more comedy skewing then, by the sounds of it.
Which works with Jaime and his motley crew of friends, right? Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, hopefully this is on a slow weekend a slow week, so I have time to read it. That seems good.
There's a lot of new books coming out in November, because we're not done yet. Wildcats issue 1, written by Matthew Rosenberg and art by Steven Segovia. And this is not really that much of a shock in the sense that obviously we had a story leading into this in Urban Legends. And while I did complain at the end that all the Wildcats showing up was kind of a bit of a wet thud, because we were enjoying the Grifter story that he was telling, but I don't really know or care about the rest of these Wildcats characters. Mm-hmm. But he's got a new ongoing. It's not even a miniseries, it's an ongoing, starting in November. Spinning off from the pages of Batman, I'll add in Urban Legends, technically, comes a sense-shattering new series. The Halo Corporation has gathered a motley crew of operatives, led by Cole, Grifter, Cash, who are going to make the world a better place, no matter who they have to kill. Working in the shadows of the DC Universe, this new covert team has been tasked with gathering an elite group of scientists for the first phase of their plan. But the Cat's mysterious leader, Waid, might have other plans. So, what's interesting to me is this almost sounds like kind of Suicide Squad-y, like how it's going to operate inside the DC universe, and maybe that's okay, because, we don't have a Suicide Squad book right now, do we?
No.
Yeah.
So what cracks me up is that wasn't Wildcats a Jim Lee invention? What he left when he went to Image?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And now he's the sole publisher. And so I feel like he's been shopping Wildcats around. And finally Rosenberg is writing, and he goes, I love Wildcats. I'll do anything to write a Wildcat books. And Jim Lee's like, all right, let's do this.
And notably there's a Jim Lee variant in the list. So.
Yep. But yeah, the most I've ever cared about Grifter or the Wildcats was in that Rosenberg story. So I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, I'm somewhat curious. I wouldn't say I'm excited by any means, but I'll give it a shot. Especially again, quiet week permitting and all that. Sure. But I'm intrigued. Then we have Waller versus Wildstorm issue. What? Okay. So here's more random new books that I did not see coming. So this is a Black Label book. It's written by Spencer Ackerman and Evan Narcisse, and art by Eric Battle. Imagine your last name is Battle. What a name. So this is a four issue prestige plus size book from Black Label, $6 an issue. In the early 1980s, as the Cold War stubbornly refuses to thaw, a new battle heats up for the soul of the intelligence agency Checkmate, as the agency's superheroic public face, Jackson King, aka the Armored Battalion, former leader of Stormwatch. I've never really read Stormwatch, so I don't know any of this shit.
Me neither.
And the symbol of American might has long suspected that Adeline Kane is up to dirty tricks overseas, engineering horrors that betray everything he believes about service to one's country. But King doesn't know that Kane has a clever new ally, an ambitious young woman named Amanda Waller. So this is set in the past then. This is a young Amanda Waller style story.
Well, yeah, because it says early 80s at the front, Pete.
What? Where?
And it says in the early 80s, as the Cold War suddenly refuses to thaw.
True. Yes, okay.
It's the first line.
That was like half a paragraph ago. I've forgotten that. She has her own ideas about how metahumans can serve their country, and honor and dignity, long lives don't factor into them. National security reporter Spencer Ackerman is going to be writing it. Yeah. So I mean, along with Evan Narcisse.
Hey, ex-CIA agent Tom King really worked out as a writer. So, DC taking another risk on an unconventional.
Yeah, national security reporter. Yeah.
Yep.
And the other guy's a video game writer, bizarrely.
Or Miles Morales in Gotham Knights.
Yeah. Very, very interesting concoction of names. I have to admit, though, I do like the cover and like the tone that it's given me just from the art.
Yeah, it gives me like a Death Wish, like the original Charles Bronson vibe.
It looks, if anything, I wouldn't even say it looks 80s. It looks like a 70s style cover to me. So
yeah,
I'm actually really down to try this. And Black Label's been it's been a gold mine for the most part so far. So I would say, despite not knowing much of any of the characters in this, other than obviously Amanda Waller, and yeah, Deathstroke's on the front cover of the issues, so I assume Deathstroke's going to show up as well.
Yeah, when you have Adeline Kane in there, you kind of assume Slade will be around the corner. So, yeah.
So, interesting. Wildstorm 30th Anniversary Special, Issue 1, one of these big anthology 100-page one-shots, $8. You got Matthew Rosenberg in there as one of the writers, which makes sense, but also Brandon Choi, J. Scott Campbell, Brett Booth. That's on the writer side, though. I mean, he's doing art as well, but still. Ed Brisson and others for writers. Art, we've got a concoction of Jim Lee, Scott Campbell, Brian Hitch, Brett Booth, and others. So,
just the it was...
I'm glad you enjoyed that, Matt. Yeah. I have to say, I don't imagine, unless there's a super quiet week, that I'm going to be tempted by a 100-page Wildstorm celebratory issue when I don't know most of the characters. But
yeah, miss me with that.
Yeah, good for Wildstorm, I guess is what I'll say.
Hey, if you're excited for this, I'm excited for you. You read your 100-page book.
Yeah, I'll try Rosenberg's new ongoing, which is a 20-page book. This I think I'll leave.
And you like the Waller versus Wildstorm, right? Like you like the sounds of that one. So
yeah, that just sounds cool on its own as a great story.
Yeah, I think that's fair that you can miss the 100-page to read two other books.
Yeah, I mean, Waller versus Wilson just looks like a gritty, good comic book, to be honest. Whereas, we know what these anthologies are like. It's all these 10-page stories that are just kind of, doing the greatest hits of the characters or whatever. But when I don't know who the characters are, I don't even... I mean, maybe in that sense it would actually serve as a good introduction, or maybe it'll just fall flat because I don't know anyone, so it's just a bunch of people that I don't know. Next up, Superman Kal-El Returns Special Issue 1. So this is a one-shot, of course, and the title makes it pretty clear what this is. It is going to be obviously essential to the ongoing Superman story for both Superman and Action. So Kal-El is returning, and this is going to be taking place. So this is like starting the March to Action Comics 1050. So this will just be as essential as Superman in Action in November as part of the
So I'm very surprised that neither Taylor or Philip Kennedy Johnson's name is here. However, Mark Waid, Simon Grace, Alex Segura, Marv Wolfman on the writer side, with Max Schreiner, Dean Haspiel, Jack Herbert, and Riley Brown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that there's that many creators suggests that this will be like 4 short stories in this 50-page book rather than one big thing. So I suspect.
Spotlight Kellos. Go ahead.
So maybe essential wasn't the right word. Maybe it'll be more like a series of just sort of like slice of life moments of like how his return affects different people when he does come back. That's kind of my guess now, to be honest.
Yeah, because it says they'll spotlight Kello's reunion with the Dark Knight, Jimmy Olsen, the Justice League, and Lex Luthor.
Well, that's your 4 stories right there.
Yep. So, plus witness never before revealed look at the moments leading to Superman's abduction by Pariah in the Dark Crisis event. So, I mean, Superman, I'm going to get it. So,
yeah, we'll read this one. We'll talk about it. That's the thing. Next up, John Stewart, The Emerald Knight, Issue 1. So this is something we talked about in the news because it came out last week. But this is a one-shot basically to wrap up what was going on in that Green Lantern book that got cancelled. Jeffrey Thorne back to write and Marcus Santucci on the art. Given we both stopped reading that, obviously we won't be checking this out, but it's good for people who did keep up with it and do want more of an ending, that you're getting something. So
I do like that the cover makes him look like John Stewart Highlander.
I mean, even more so in the variant, to be honest.
Yeah.
For all 3 variants, I mean, actually, that third one's more of like a Green Ranger style.
Yeah, it is.
So he's ready to call in the Dragonzord.
Yeah. But yeah, that second cover.
Yeah.
Well, he had that even before he had didn't he have that evil sword from Rita, too?
That's true.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But no, definitely the second cover makes it look like he's yelling, "There can only be one."
Yep.
So, but yeah.
And then we got Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 6. This is the penultimate issue in November, so this event will be finishing in December just for Christmas, so that's cool. So yeah, very neat. Dark Crisis, the Dark Army issue 1. This is a one-shot tie-in that was announced not too long. Actually, this wasn't even announced. This was just in the, because I spotted this in the checklist. See, when we started getting the checklist in the back of the books,
Yeah.
we just noticed this was there, and it was like, they didn't announce this. So this is an anthology style one-shot, 50 pages, well, 48 pages technically, but Mark Waid doing a story. Notice how Mark Waid's doing more stories at DC. His name's popping up a bit, isn't it? Delilah S. Dawson and Dennis Culver finish out the writers, and then art by Freddie Williams II. Only one artist, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it just means they'll get more to add, or maybe it means this is less of an anthology than I thought it was. I don't know. Maybe there's more of a through line, and that's why the art stays the same.
Cover by Gleb Melnikov, so that's cool. So I'm assuming with that cover with Robin.
The second cover's got Robin. Is that Dr. Light that I'm seeing?
Dr. Light and the new Red Canary, who, if I had to guess, is Shoes.
It does look like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. If I had to guess, I mean, she's taking the family business, Aunt Dinah. So
this looks like a. I don't know if it'll be worthwhile after I've read it, but it looks worthwhile enough in advance that I want to read it. So
yeah,
I'll give it that. And then similarly, Dark Crisis Warzone issue 1, another one-shot tying into this, and it's got a lot of creative teams, so it's another anthology-style 48-page book. You got Matthew Rosenberg again, Delilah S. Dawson again, Jeremy Adams, Frank Thierry, and Stephanie Williams in the writers list, and then George Cambadius and Daniel Bayliss, Fernando Pesaro, Matt Ryan, and Serge Acuna on the artist list. So as the Hall of Justice falls, get a new generation, get a new perspective, on various conflicts while the battles across the Dark Crisis rage on. So it sounds like there's a lot of big fights going on, probably after or towards the end of issue 6 of Dark Crisis, and this is going to be like just a snapshot of a lot of smaller characters and what they're doing in these fights.
Yeah, there was that one that came during Death Metal, right, where we had the story where Babs and Dick get married as the world's ending. I feel that's what this feels like, is that issue. So
yeah, I mean, this seems like it might not be as essential, but I'll probably read it. I'll probably just for the hype, getting to the ending of Dark Crisis, get all the scope of it. I will say though, Flash's face on that main cover is, or this I don't know if it's the main cover, but it's the first cover that's there on the slideshow. It's a bit rough looking.
And is that Raven versus the Spectre? That's different.
It does a lot of that, doesn't it? I don't know. There's a lot more characters in the variants, which suggests maybe a lot more. You've got like both. You've got John and Connor. Connor Kent, that is, fighting Doomsday by the looks of it. You've got Hal versus Darkseid. Maybe with Batman. I mean, they don't all line up exactly, but the second cover's got like a lot of face-off looking things go up and down it.
Yeah, and then the other cover is the Jurgens, which looks pretty Jurgensy.
Jurgens wants to draw every character he can think of, and that's what that cover is. And then we got the Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League Batman issue 1. So that's just obviously we expected this. So this is a Simon Spurrier and McGann for Martin writing. With Ryan Sook, Dan Jurgens, and Norm Rapmund on the art. So I assume this is going to be a case of a main and a backup rather than co-writers.
Because it says plus unravel the secrets of Zatanna's world in its final epic chapter.
There you go.
So,
there you go. So, a couple of neat covers there. At least. So cool. So yeah, a lot of Dark Crisis stuff. In fact, just that Dark Crisis Young Justice issue 6, final issue of that tie-in miniseries as well. So there's a lot of Dark Crisis tie-ins in November. I would say that it didn't go too heavy on them for the duration of most of it, but it does look like they're doing a lot of Dark Crisis stuff on the run up to the final issue. So there you go. So
I'm bummed that they just gave away something in the solicit and I shouldn't have read it. So yeah, because I was reading this book on the side.
Sure.
Because I got behind and damn. The last issue really hooked me with what the hell is going on.
And I think I see the the part that you think's a spoiler. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So then we got Deceased: War of the Undead Gods issue 4. So that's continuing. Very nice. First issue was a treat. Issue 5 is also solicited for December. Although notably this is for the 20th of December, so maybe they're announcing a bunch of December books.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder what Solicits is going to look like next month. Are we going to get like half of December's and maybe a little of January, or what's the makeup going to be? But yeah, that's 4 and 5 of that solicited. Very neat. Batman versus Robin issue 3. This is the Mark Waid mini that's spun out of Batman v not Batman v Superman. Sorry, scratch that from the record. Batman Superman World's Finest. Issue 3 of 5. This is. We have Nightwing 2022 Annual, which is written by Tom Taylor. This has art by Eduardo Pasica and Julio Ferreira. And this is a Heartless related story, looking into him. So this seems like it's going to be fairly essential to the overall story. And then it also has Bitewing Year 1 as a backup story. Haley in her first year with the humans. So that sounds like a sweet backup. So, yeah.
Yep.
Count me in for the Nightwing Annual. Is that for... that is November.
Shock.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
That's 11/29.
Yeah, so yeah, November's
shocked, I tell you.
Is a 5 Tuesday month. Shocked that I want to read this. Say what?
Yes, shocked.
We also have a Batgirls annual for November.
That's a nice cover.
Yeah, so this is Becky Cleary and Michael W. Conrad writing, so it's the main team writing with Robbie Rodriguez on the art. Cover is pretty cool. Yeah, I would agree. Where Steph and Cass have swapped costumes. Interesting little gimmick. And it looks like they're swapping like dodgy parental figures as well, but the looks of it.
Yeah. That's Shiva and Quizmaster.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. That's cool. I'm glad that's getting an annual. I'm enjoying that book now. And we're all with the Bat Family on annuals in November because Detective Comics 2022 annual in November as well.
Pete, read the first 3 words.
As a werewolf.
I'm in.
Here's the thing. This is starting to sound like a very busy month for comics. November is, but I'm all for it because I'm liking most of what I'm reading. Detective Comics 22 Annual is written by Ram V, the regular writer, with art by Christopher Minton, who I don't know. I don't know if I know Christopher Minton. But cover by Evan Cagle.
That's what it looks like. Cagle.
As a werewolf, Guile has lived through many generations, and so he has visited Gotham's land before, hundreds of years ago. Take a trip back to the 1700s, Renaissance Gotham, with Guile on Arkham land, and to help remember him exactly where he buried something important, and he is now has to dig deep back up. I said that weird, forgive me.
You did!
Yes. I don't know. Whatever. And in a twist of fate, the Dark Knight is in town and also seems to be looking for something from out of time. His way back home to the present. Oh, so Batman's time travel. Just so we got a time traveling Batman and a werewolf in this.
MV, stop! I'm gonna fall in love with you.
When it said Batman there, I assumed it was like 2 timelines, and we were seeing like this villain in present day and also in the past. But then he just said, "No, Batman's back in the past too. He's time traveling." Batman's
fighting a time traveling werewolf. Please, thank you, Rambi.
No. Batman's time traveled.
Right, but I know. But I'm just saying, the werewolf has existed for 300 years.
But I don't think the werewolf's time traveling, is he?
No. But I'm just saying, I'm making it sound more out there. But yeah.
But you said time traveling werewolf. I'm just speculating if that's accurate or not.
No. Man, Rambi, stop being so cool. All right, writing time travel with werewolves in it. That's like my perfect movie. Okay,
well, there's 3 annuals for the last week of November that I very much want to read. On a similar vein, not that I won't necessarily want to read this, but we've got Nubia and the Justice League Special Issue 1. This is basically an annual $6 48-page book on the last week of the month. Written by Becky Clooney, Michael W. Conrad, and Stephanie Williams. I would assume Stephanie Williams is probably a second story. Art by Amancay Nahuelpan and Alita Martinez. So, yeah, in honor of the 50th anniversary of her 50th anniversary, Nubia is joining the Justice League after years separated from man's world. The Amazon's most powerful warrior and now queen has been called in to save the day and work alongside the world's greatest heroes. What danger awaits our hero and her new teammates? Find out in the special that shows a bright new future for the character. So I'm conflicted about this one because on the one hand, I'm like, okay, the idea that Nubia is coming to the mainland for the first time in a long time and she's going to meet the Justice League sounds cool enough. But at the same time, it's, you know, this is spinning out of like the Wonder Woman corner of books and that event and all that other stuff. So I'm less excited because of that. So this will be relatively low priority for me for that reason. That said, that second cover, where she's with the kid and they're both holding the spears, that does look really cool. That's a really nice cover.
That one's cool too, but I like the third one a lot too.
Oh, she's got the metal armor on.
Suit of armor.
Yeah.
That looks pretty cool too. Also looks like Gina Torres a little bit. I think it's mostly the hair.
Oh, I can see the Gina Torres comparison in that cover. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not the other covers are right, just that particular cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Wonder Woman 204 facsimile edition. Not much to say. We're doing a facsimile. Wonder Woman 793. This has got Superman and Batman guesting in it, and it's still from Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad. Georgia Blair doing the backup, presumably. Lupacino and Paulina Ganesho on the art. So, next Wonder Woman issue. I'm hoping this next arc is better than the one that just finished, you know, because we were pretty down in the last couple of issues. So, we'll see how it goes in the next few. Next up, DC's Grifter got run over by a reindeer issue 1.
They really laid out. That.
I just want to read that again. I just want to make sure I didn't just fever dream what I just said.
Nope.
DC's Grifter got run over by a reindeer issue 1. So this is the 80-page Christmas anthology special. It's coming out in the annual day, the last week of November, which is a good time for it. Admittedly, I've already seen 3 annuals that I want to read, and maybe a special that I'll try. So maybe I won't want the Christmas special. But what a wacky title, and Harley Quinn, Batman, and more, your favorite DC superstars, blah blah. Who made the nice list? Hawkman, Black Canary, is that Animal Man on the naughty list? And how did Grifter find himself the target in sight of those pesky reindeer? I don't know. Someone had a good idea for a title and they went with it. But there you go. That's
now Grandma got run over by a reindeer. I'm gonna have to replace the word Grandma with Grifter.
All right. Well, there you go. I have nothing to add on that. Superman 75 special edition. So this is obviously a reprinting of the classic, Death of Superman issue. Not much to say. Detective Comics 38 facsimile edition. Again, straightforward enough. Brave and the Bold 28 facsimile edition. Straightforward enough. And then the rest of the books, or this is some of the trades actually first. Batman Catwoman, the collection, the hardcover is coming out. So very mixed feelings on it overall, but a lot of nice art in it though. So the hardcover should look good. I'll say that much. Rorschach, the softcover version, is coming out, so it's cool. Batman Killing Time is getting a hardcover, unsurprisingly. That's been solicited. Strange Adventures paperback, obviously already had the hardcover.
Yeah,
that's coming out. House of L, Book 3, The Treacherous Hope. So this is one of these young adult,
Claudia Gray.
Yeah, graphic novels. That's cool. Dark Knight's Metal Omnibus. Oh, I'm sure we predicted this back when it was coming out that it was like destined to have all those one shots put in an omnibus. So this has got Dark Knight's Metal 1-6 plus stories from the Forge and the casting, and then it's got all those one shots. Red Death, Devastator, The Merciless, Murder in the Machine, The Drowned. All those like evil Batman one shots. Plus some tie-in, because there was those little crossovers as well. There was the one with Nightwing, Green Arrow. That was like a 4-issue crossover, and then there was another one. So those are all included. So this is a 760-page omnibus that does the entire first Metal. Probably a good way to read it, I imagine, if you're in the market for it. So it's cool that they finally got around to doing that. All right, Action Comics 1049. So just one away from 1050. This is Kal-El Returns Part 5. So obviously we've got a crossover between the two Superman books for a little bit. That cover is absolutely gorgeous with the Superman family all floating above the fortress.
I wish I could see him because my version of the Solicits, it's not popping up.
Oh, it's
I'm getting no covers, just text.
It's beautiful, Matt. Do you know what? I'll be nice and I'll send it to you.
Send it.
I'll send it to you. It's too good. It's too good not to see. It's the Fortress of Solitude and the Super Family are hovering above, and we just see the back of them.
Oh dear, that is a phone cover.
Yeah, including Crypto Steel, and that's Keenan there. New Superman.
Keenan,
yeah. Really cool stuff. Notably, no John. Interestingly.
No.
But whatever,
he's got stuff to do with Gossamer.
Yeah. So that's the Steve Beach cover, which is the regular one. So that is a really cool cover for issue 1049 before we get to 1050. That said, though, the next cover, well, digital looking, but it's kind of nice though. It's like I don't even know who that character is looking through the window, but there's like a rocket. Maybe that's Martha, young Martha, maybe.
Maybe. Is
that what they're going for? You can't see it, can you?
I'm gonna find a new Solicits. Nope, I'm gonna go to a different Solicits page. These are for November, right?
Yes. There's also one of Superman blow drying his hair, but he's got the mullet in like the 90s, and it's also hitting Crypto, which that
is fantastic.
Fun throwback cover. Anywho, I'm moving on. I can't wait around for Matt to find us.
You're fine. Just keep going.
Yeah, Batgirl's issue 12 solicited for November. So that is cool. Looks like there's going to be some Mad Hatter stuff going on, which is fun.
Cool.
Neat. I dig the third cover that's there of Steph and Cass eating pizza together. Again, some of those fun covers that they have for that book, they're just kind of hanging out. It's nice.
Yeah. So listeners, just know he could be making these all up, and I can't verify.
Don't worry, I'm not.
I'm just saying you could.
Next up is Batman Nightwatch issue 3. I forgot what this is. This is a 5-issue miniseries written by Jay Torres and art by Eric Owen. So there you go. I don't even know that. I don't even remember that being a thing. Issue 4 Nightwatch is also solicited for December. So that's cool. It does seem to be mostly that first week in December. There was just that one issue that was from later in the month. So I still think most of December's are still to be revealed in next month's solicits. Batman Incorporated issue 2, the Ed Brisson sort of comeback of that title, with John Timms on art, is solicited. Obviously, Ghostmaker being one of the central characters of it. So that is out in November. Batman Fortress issue 7. I honestly didn't realize that was more than 6 issues, so color me surprised. That's 8 issues total DC for the record.
Until now.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the Gary Whitta and Derek Robertson book. We got Batman Superman World's Finest issue 9. That's still continuing. So yeah. So they're still doing Boy Thunder stuff, which is starting not this week's issue that we're going to talk about later, but next month's issue. So that is neat. Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 2. This is the second issue of a 6-issue miniseries. This is the Evan Narcisse and art by Abel. So cool on that. Batman The Audio Adventures issue 2 is solicited for November. Obviously, this is the adaptation of the audio stories. We get Urban Legends issue 21. So, 4 stories as per usual, with Michael Cho, Anthony Falcone, Joey Esposito, Dennis Culver, and Julio Antle on the writers list. Art by Michael Cho, Vasco Georgiev, Hayden Sherman, and others listed in the artists. So, yeah, really old school looking cover for this one. It says the Wheelman of Gotham, with a really, classic pulpy 30s and 40s style.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Joey's name popping up in Urban Legends so much.
Oh yeah, no, it's cool. There's a cover here with Montoya on it that's very pretty, actually. So,
I'll take your word for it.
I suspect that means there's a Montoya story in there.
There is. It's in the back. It's her last days as a detective before she became the new commissioner.
Ah, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Urban Legends 22 is also solicited for the start of December.
So
So
we have a Jamal Campbell story in this one.
yeah,
And a Nightwing story.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Batman's on a jet ski, if that's exciting for you. I mean, he's on make it more, to paint a picture for you, Matt. He's on a jet ski in the sewers of Gotham. It's not like he's out.
Ew. Never mind.
Yeah, he's not out, on Miami Beach enjoying some.
Yeah, no Batman on a jet ski. No bat ski.
No, nothing like that. Black Adam issue 6, still with those ultra realistic painted covers. Yeah, like the art here is just stunningly realistic, is how I'd describe it.
Oh man, the solicits on this one. Batman has had enough of Black Adam. That's just so funny.
So that's coming out. Catwoman issue 49. Punchline's in this issue apparently.
Cool. Oh man, sure. There's a really cool looking Tila Lote cover I can't see.
It's very nice actually. Yeah, it's very good.
Like, yeah, they only load the front half of them, and the rest of them, once we got to this section of books, they're just not loading. I've redone it 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, it's okay. I'll look later.
We were just commenting last week about Dark Knights of Steel being missing for a while. It's returning in November, so it's actually on a proper lengthy break. But issue 8 of Dark Knights of Steel is coming on November. So
Gerads was talking with Tom Taylor because he was talking about how this is coming out. And he says, well, it looks really good. He goes, yeah, we had a break to give Putri some time.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's a good reason, yeah. I've played. We have DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, issue 3. This is the groovy Bruce Campbell comic that we're excited to check out and see what it's like, because it's Bruce Campbell writing a comic book.
Yeah, we got a Gary Frank cover and a Frank Avila cover, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Gary Frank cover looks very nice. Yeah. So, DC versus Vampires issue 11 is coming out. It has a very cool cover of Plastic Man, which is I'd say it's kind of like The Thing-esque, where he's kind of like morphing. Okay. He's got like an extra mouth, and he's got like all these sharp teeth, and it's quite horrific looking. It's good stuff.
Icky.
Yeah,
icky.
Good stuff. I'm assuming that's the variant though, even though it's first, because it says here that the cover's by Gilliam March, and that is definitely not Gilliam March. I'll tell you that right now.
Or he upped his game phenomenally.
Yeah, it's probably the 1 in 25 variant by Steve Beach. Yeah, his name's at the bottom, Steve Beach. Yeah, I was far too good to be Gilliam March. DC versus Vampires All Out War issue 5, so the penultimate issue of the tie-in miniseries as well. It's coming out. DC Mech issue 5. The Green Lantern mech's on the cover, so cool. Yeah. And then we got Deathstroke Inc. issue 15. Remember that's moved over to Ed Brisson by this point. Dexter Soy's on art, and Dexter Soy's a good artist actually. So yeah, you're getting some good art at least.
I have these. I still haven't read them since it switched over to basically Deathstroke Year 1. I'll get to them. It was just not part of the crossover anymore.
Yeah, I have to say, all 3 of these covers on this Deathstroke Inc. issue are really good. I was not expecting that. One's by main covers by Yannin, and then you've got a couple other covers that are both very kind of heavily painted looking. Detective Comics 1066 is coming out, and we have Batman in the snow on this front cover. I always like Batman in a snowy Gotham. It's always a good bit of atmosphere. So cool stuff. Yep. Then we got Fables 157 coming out. GCPD The Blue Wall issue 2. This is the John Ridley book that's starting obviously the month prior. That I am very curious to check out, the 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing because I missed Solicits last time. And then I saw the name of who's writing, and I was like, oh man, this won't be controversial at all.
Yeah, it feels like it may be quite a hard-hitting book. So yeah, it's got Montoya in here as a main character, and dealing with the some of the police force and stuff. So I'm still really curious to check this out. The cover's really nice as well, actually. Really cool. The variant's good as well. Although Gordon's face is a little bit wonky in the background, but you've got Batman holding up a Joker piranha. And it's
Okay.
it's like a oil painting looking cover. It's pretty nice. And then you got Gotham City Year 1, Issue 2, which I forgot
I'm
this
so
was.
here for this.
Yeah, I forgot this was a thing. Man, there's so much good stuff coming out later this year. Gotham City Year 1, this is a Tom King book with Phil Hester and Eric Gapster on the art. Yeah, this is a really cool Batman the Animated Series looking front cover. And the variant's got Bullock, and then there's a really sort of digital painted looking cover with a lady of some kind. I don't even know which character.
I'm sure that's the Natalie Sanders cover.
Probably, yeah. So, yeah, looking forward. I forgot Gotham City Year 1 was a thing. That was something since last month.
If it's half as good as Rorschach, I'm gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Year 1, Issue 3 is also solicited for early December. I think it's a really cool idea to give a city a Year 1. You know, it's such a cool. Connor was not impressed by this. He thought it was a gimmick to call it Gotham City Year 1. I actually think it's really cool, but
oh man, that Year 1-3 has a Smallwood variant that I can't see.
Yeah, it's got Frank Avila as well. Yeah, I always saw this.
How is Connor so tremendously wrong all the time?
I don't know. It's becoming a bit of a habit. It really is. Here, I'll send you the Smallwood cover, Matt, as a treat.
Thank you, sir. You're a peach.
Yes, I know. I'm a hero. So there you go. Wonderful stuff.
Dang.
I know. So Harley Quinn issue 24 solicited for November, and then you also have Harley Quinn.
Connor thinks that's so good.
Oh yeah, he's super excited. I know he's been secretly anticipating it. Harley Quinn the Animated Series Legion of Bats issue 2. It's a 6-issue miniseries.
Still T. Franklin, so that's cool.
Yeah, so it's basically just a sequel to the
other
one.
Eat Bang Love.
Yeah. And then I Am Batman issue 15. Still going strong. Yeah. That's out in
for Ridley.
November. This new Batman versus Sinestro, but it looks at the cover. So interesting. Then we got Looney Tunes issue 269, Mad Magazine 29, Monkey Prince issue 8. How did Monkey Prince get pushed after? I guess it may just be alphabetical, actually. Fair enough.
It is alphabetical at this point.
Because they used to put those at the end, rather than that's fine. So yeah, Monkey Prince issue 8 is coming out in November. So cool. Issue 9 is also solicited for early December. We have Multiversity Teen Justice issue 6, which is wrapping up that miniseries.
Yep.
We have Nightwing issue 98, which I saw Tom Taylor tweeting about this week because it's introducing a new character, technically. Nightmite is making his debut appearance in Nightwing issue 98. It just occurred to me, they're probably going to do something big for issue 100 in January.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah. So the cover's cool. It's basically like a take on the issue 1 cover, but with Nightmite kind of like all over it. So
this is very funny because it's very fourth dimension, like because of Nightmite, because it's the artist from Seven Secrets, Daniele Di Nicuolo, but it's the Solicits have Daniele Di Nicuolo acting as a character, so that's very funny.
Very good.
Because I was like, who is this character? And then I looked up, I was like, oh, along with Seven Secrets, he hitched his way over. So I was like, oh, okay. So it should be good. I read the first 3 issues of Seven Secrets, and it was pretty good, but it's something that was probably better in trade, right? So I gotta go back. But the art was really good. So this is, while not Redondo, it'll be just as good.
Yeah, variant cover is a new Teen Titans cover with all the various characters on it, so that's cool. Poison Ivy issue 6, the conclusion to the first arc. I'm sure Matt's super pumped.
Yep. I will be.
And issue 7 of that's also solicited for December. With the cover that I'm sure you're going to love, where Ivy's wearing a hard hat and a t-shirt that says "Shell Baby Shell."
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that last week because it got extended to past the original 6, but yeah, the Solicits on that lead with that,
Yeah, what's interesting is, remember how last week we said it got extended to 12, but it might go beyond that? It's interesting that both these solicits do not say of 12, they just say 6 and 7.
7, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, next up, Punchline, the Gotham game, issue 2. Speaking of things that were introduced last solicits that I've forgotten, Tini Howard and Blake Howard writing with Geb Melnikov on the art. So that's where Melnikov's doing some work just now.
I mean, I don't like Punchline that much. And Tini Howard didn't wow me on Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
But Punchline doing a Royal Flush gang, kind of cool concept.
Yeah, it's a 6-issue miniseries, and it makes sense that Punchline was showing up in Catwoman, because I imagine Tini Howard's doing some crossover stuff, maybe. Or at least some synergistic stuff at the very least. So, okay. And then we got Static, Shadows of Dakota, issue 2. Another 6-issue miniseries for Static. Issue 3 is also solicited for December. Then we got Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 7. This is part 4 of Superman Returns, or Kal-El Returns, I should say. Well, it's, I'm sure this will all be obvious as they're coming out, because they'll come out in the weeks that make sense, but obviously we're bouncing around because we're going alphabetical. Superman Space Age, issue 3, the final part of the Mark Russell book. Is this Black Label, or is it just Black Label in style?
I'm not sure, because I can't see the covers to see if there's a Black Label on there, but it might just be in style because it's a $10 80-pager prestige style. So,
oh well. Sword of Azrael issue 4. All 12 people who are buying that will be happy it's not been cancelled before it finishes at 6 issues. I'm sorry, I make fun of Azrael every single time he pops up on the solicits. I know, I should hold back. Issue 5's also been solicited as well for December, for the record. The Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 2.
Oh, cool.
Coming in November. The Flash 788 coming in November, and this is continuing the Wolf stuff, from Iron Heights.
That was seeded way long time ago, it feels like now, right?
I think it's just because we've been doing the Dark Crisis tie-ins, and there was a little bit before that, so yeah, it feels like a while now, but it's nice that they're going back to that, and we're getting, because that was a really interesting little thing they were teasing in there.
Yep.
Then we got The Flash, The Fastest Man Alive, issue 3, by Kenny Porter. This is the third and final issue of this.
Yep.
So, cool. The Human Target issue 9. So excited to be having that back.
Hey,
this cover. Oh, God.
Send it. It's the Smallwood cover, I take it? Or is it the Francavilla?
This is the Smallwood cover.
Okay, yep, send it.
Yeah, it's basically Chan standing in like Batman's shadow, and turning around looking scared. It's just, I mean, we talk about his facial expressions is just something else.
It, like, you're talking about that one cover looking like a 70s cover. This looks like a 60s cover to like a movie, like a poster. Like, oh my God, Smallwood's so good. Like, very good. I was, me and my wife were watching Riverdale season 6, and it's Riverdale, right? But I was telling her that because it's really getting into the horror side of things, and I brought up how I read a book called Vampironica, all because Greg Smallwood did the art in the first 2 issues. And yeah, he even made that concept work. So, Human Target, it's like a match made in heaven.
Yep. You and the 58-year-olds all watching the CW?
Yes.
Did you see that this week?
My demo. I did not.
No, turns out the average age of a CW viewer right now is 58.
At 36, I'm not helping that average at all. But we're not. We're watching it on Netflix though. So
yeah, Yeah, I assume it doesn't count people watching it on streaming services and stuff, but it's still kind of funny.
That's very funny.
So the Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue 2. This is a Matthew Rosenberg book. That is. I don't remember this at all from last month. What is this? So, yeah. So, I mean, it's
it seems like in the tone of the Joker movie. But yeah, what if the best version of you is on national television, committing shocking acts of atrocity that can only be perpetrated by a mind as bent as broken as the Joker's? Clown Prince of Crime is about to find a shocking new truth.
Yeah, I think this is actually kind of following up to the previous ongoing. This is kind of what's replaced it, because it's not a miniseries.
Man, but yeah, it's got Rosenberg and then the art by Giandomenico. And
Yeah, and but Frank Avila was
Avila.
the fill-in on the first
Yeah,
series. So yeah, I think this is just a continuation, but
yeah,
they retitled and numbered it with a new creative team to
gotcha.
make it distinct. Because the Tynion one ended.
Well, and they're soliciting issue 3 as well.
Yeah.
So
there's a really cool variant actually on that issue 2.
mhm.
Which is cool. Oh, there's a Christmassy one on issue 3 with that has to be oh, I don't know who that. Oh, that's by Hermos. But I thought it was by her. I just didn't see his name initially there.
Yeah.
But it's a little kid dressed as Robin sitting on Joker's lap, but Joker's dressed as Santa.
No!
That's a good cover. That's a good cover. I'll send Matt. Matt needs to see it.
Oh no!
So much of this episode is me sending you covers now. So yes, enjoy that.
Oh no! Those are my favorite kind of Christmas pictures, though. The kid freaking out with Santa. Now you just add the creepy layer of Santa being Joker and the kid being Robin. Oof! That is a Silent Night, Deadly Night cover, my friend.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Yeah. Punish, naughty. Yeah. I recommend Santa Deadly Night, and then of course part 2, which has got the infamous "It's Garbage Day," which is one of the best sequences in movie history.
Yeah. What is it? Prom Night 2 is like that, where it wasn't prom night, right? They just threw the title on another movie, and they said the show I was listening to called it in the vein of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, where things are just happening because.
Well, I mean, Silent Deadly Night 2 was definitely made as a sequel. It wasn't just thrown onto it, but half the movie's flashbacks to the original.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they were talking about. That in Prom Night 2, there's a lot of shenanigans with flashbacks and stuff.
But that new half is entertaining enough and stupid enough that it is well worth watching, regardless.
It's gonna be watched this year because I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night last year.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up on the Solicits list, the new champion is Shazam issue 4. So that wraps up in November. Makes sense. Unsurprisingly, the Doc Shaner cover's very good. Well, so's that third cover, which is Mary Marvel popping some bubblegum and surrounded by lightning. That's kind of cool. And then we got Nice House on the Lake issue 12. That is finally coming to an end. Yeah. So
feels like it's been a minute since we've had an issue, right?
Yeah. November is packed. There's so much good stuff in November. Jeez. Tim Drake, Robin issue 3, which is the Megan Fitzmartin and Riley Rosmo book, which Connor's going to be forced to read by
Hard
David.
miss.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. Titans United Blood Pact issue 3 of 6, so that's coming out in November. And then we got Young Justice Targets issue 5 by Greg Weisman. So that's the penultimate issue of that. And then that's all the single issues. From there, we have various, collected editions and reprints and whatnot. Batman and Robin by Tomasi and Gleason Omnibus reprinted, for example, the Omnibus. So that's very cool. As for anything else of interest in here, the collection of Batman Shadows of the Bat, the Tower, the Tamaki Arkham Tower story, that's coming out in hardcover. All the issues in one big 300-page book. That's kind of neat. Some good stuff. Yeah. Sometimes it take a while to bring this stuff out because, like, Nightwing Volume 2, Get Grayson's only just coming out. It's only just been solicited here for December, and I'm like, damn, the last issue of that was a while ago now. Like, why can't these be quicker? I don't get it. And the paperback of the first volume is just coming out in December as well. So, they take their sweet time sometimes. I'm going to be honest, that was one of the better solicits that I've read through in a while.
I'm very excited for a lot of it. I mean, we got a John's Justice Society section of
just a
right
book.
Now.
It had its own corner. It had its own section of things to talk about.
Mark Waid writing Superman in a special. I'm here for that. So yeah.
No, a lot of good things. There's a couple of good things starting in October and even more in November. So it looks like we've got some cool things to look forward to later in the year. Admittedly, yes, if you're sick of Bat books, then yes, stuff like Gotham Year One might not be as exciting, but it just looks good creator wise and style wise. So I am pumped. So very nice. All right. With all that said, it is time to talk about comics. So we will start off this week, and I've scrolled up here, so let me scroll back down. We will start off with Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler, Issue 1. This is Tom King writing with Mitch Gerads on the art. Obviously, it was hard not to be excited for this particular one shot because of that creative team. This is the Strange Adventures, at least half of the Strange Adventures team, and the
Mr.
Miracle team. So super exciting on that realm, and it is a dense, almost 70-page book, and
it's you feel every page, and it sounds like a slight, but it's not.
No, yes.
This feels the closest. Like, I always get a little bit irritated when people use the term graphic novels to describe comics, because to me, graphic novels are kind of one-shot kind of deals, right? This was a graphic novel, right? This was like a miniseries worth of information in this one shot.
You could have easily split this up into 3 single issues and released it that way.
Yeah, and this might be the best Riddler story I've ever I've ever read. So,
well, that's high praise right off the bat. I also thought it was excellent. It's it's kind of, I don't know if they're all going to do this, but I guess the concept here is the idea that, could some of these villains give Batman his one bad day that's bad enough that he might cross the line? And what I like about it doesn't like go into like the bad fan fiction of, what would it be like if Batman actually started killed someone. It leaves it on this very tasteful, like ambiguous kind of thing, almost like the Killing Joke, where it's like, did he do it? Did he actually cross that line finally?
I hope every one of these have that Grant Morrison moment that he pointed out from his, I think it was on the Kevin Smith podcast, of Joker's life being represented by the light, and the light goes out at the end, and it's, Alan Moore left it ambiguous if Joker was still around by the end. I hope they kind of all have a moment like that, because the tension by the end is ramped up so much.
Yeah, and this is kind of a masterclass in writing, because like the first few pages, it's this POV from this unknown character who's just leaving work, and he's talking to his wife on the phone about their daughter faking like an illness so she doesn't have to go to her soccer practice. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the elevator, he runs into someone, and it's all POV, and it's him like texting for a cab. He's usually gets the train home, but he's getting a cab because he wants to get home quicker to like talk to his daughter. Mm-hmm. And it's the 9-panel grid, right? These first few pages, and 5 panels into the third page, it just goes black. He's looking at his phone. He's texting his wife, and then it just goes black. And then the next page is security camera footage showing you a different angle where he's coming out of his workplace looking at his phone, and the Riddler just comes up behind him and shoots him in the back of the head. And it is super brutal. And the reason why I think this is so effective is that not only do you get that great sort of suspense of why did it go black? Did he get knocked out? And then you find out, no, he was just murdered in cold blood. Mm-hmm. But it did a good job of making him feel like a character in 3 pages, where I wouldn't say like I cared about him deeply, but like I cared that he died. I felt bad that he got killed.
Yep, I was so bummed out, because I was like, oh, so what's this? Is this guy going to get carjacked or whatever? Did not factor that Riddler was just going to show up and ice him, because I have a very, like, when it came to the Riddler, in my head, he's not a murderer, right? Like, he's a guy that gets off on the puzzles and the riddles, and the whole thing is to show that he's smarter than Batman. And this story plays with that, but this shows a very dark side of Riddler, and King and Gerads really made it work.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, part of this is that he's always like killed people here or there, but like he's kind of like crossed the line now where he's kind of like bored of just playing games with Batman, and now this is the story of how Riddler becomes scary. And I think part of making us sympathize with this innocent person who gets killed, this father and husband who gets killed at the start, is to kind of set up like how severe this is, and it sets you off in that tone. So as the issue progresses, it's like Riddler, he just waits to be arrested, and he gets interrogated by Gordon, and he wants to see Batman. That's all he wants, and he starts mocking Gordon and even tries to claim some responsibility, because even though this is not in continuity in the sense that, this issue is not in continuity, it uses continuity as its history. So it's like, that. So he brings up Barbara being shot by the Joker and basically says, yeah, I gave the Joker that idea. I was like, I've already been thinking about doing this. It would be so easy. Like, so.
He's egging Gordon on in the same way that Joker was, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, come on, cross the line, man. Come on. But the thing is, you believe Riddler, right? Like, there's a sincerity, there's the word, to what he's saying. And even Gordon's reactions, this is where Gerads just rolls, is the expressions here.
Oh yeah,
too.
And the overall like sort of palette as well, and the colors and the way that the backgrounds look you feel like you're in Seven, like you feel like you're in a grimy murder crime story. The whole time.
It also made me want to watch the newest Batman movie.
Oh sure, yeah.
Because it not that the Riddlers are the same, but this Riddler is a lot closer to that version of Riddler.
Yeah, this feels like a merging of the two. It feels like it's got a lot of that movie Riddler, but a lot of sort of classic Riddler as his history. And that's when it starts getting into the flashbacks, where the other part of this issue is some of like Edward's like childhood, right, where he went to this posh private school where his father was the headmaster. And he was this wonderkind of a child who he like his father actually like spanks him with a book in this first flashback because he was the third highest in the recent test, and he didn't come first. That's it's like, you weren't the perfect student, so therefore you're going to get punished. And
he makes him pick or he doesn't make him pick, but it's almost like the book that he picks, it's a Shakespeare, right? Because he says it's the Bard.
Yeah.
And so there's almost a psychological, it's more about the psychological than the physical, which is what I've always associated with the Riddler. So again, it's Tom King playing with that. And this is why the Riddler is the way he is. Yeah,
as we talk about these flashbacks as they come in, it does kind of, you start to see the shape of how, this kind of influences his personality. And so right now we know that his father's really strict, and basically beats him if he, doesn't do well, if he isn't exceptional in his class. Actually, one thing I noticed here about the art is it's really good, obviously. This is not a critique. But the father here, I kept seeing Kurtwood Smith's face.
Bro, I read it in his voice. That's weird.
I was just seeing slightly older Kurtwood Smith from RoboCop, just with a mustache, and that's what I was seeing the entire time.
Man, we didn't talk about this at all before, guys.
No, we didn't.
The fact that you saw that as him, and I read it in Red Foreman's voice, because it's the names that he calls him too. Then I'm just like, man, this guy, no chill.
I was never that 70s show guy, so
that's fine. That's how I primarily know him, because I didn't grow up watching RoboCop. So then when I saw RoboCop finally, I was like, oh, Red Foreman's the bad guy. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's exceptionally well done. The father's screaming, "Are you the son of a whore?" as he spanks him with this book, and he's like, "No father, I'm your son." Like, it's super. He's abusive both physically and mentally. This is like horrible parenting. And then we go to the funeral for the guy who died at the start, right? Oates, his name is. And it's Bruce is at the funeral, and he ends up talking to the widow. And she's like, "Wait, Bruce Wayne, why are you here?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I heard about what happened. I wanted to show up and show a bit of, whatever." And she ends up, crying into his arm, and she's breaking down. She's struggling with this.
Yeah, it's very much kind of, this is the type of Bruce that I like to see, because it's one that he's grappling with. It's not that he failed, right? It's that how he couldn't have ever predicted this.
Yeah,
but he still feels responsible for it.
Yeah, as we learn, part of Riddler's thing this time is that he always leaves clues and wants to almost tempt Batman to find him and figure it out. this was what Riddler can do when he doesn't do that. This is Riddler just out of the blue, randomly just doing something with no clues. So yeah, he could never have stopped this. This was completely sudden and just, out of nowhere.
But he still feels responsible, and when he goes and talks with her and she just leans into him, it was another Gerads just nailing the composition, because it's just like when it goes black in the beginning. I just felt the emotion here.
You get her, her sort of trying to talk about the reception and how there's like a buffet and like the sandwiches and stuff to have, and she's just talking about stuff that doesn't matter to try and like ignore the pain, but then she breaks down. And again, this is so that Bruce sees the effect of what Riddler's done, and really selling the idea that this is maybe going to ultimately be what convinces Batman to cross some line, potentially later on, right? And I think it should always be potentially. It should never, like, I'm a little bit worried that some of these other one shots might actually be more explicit with it and just have him do stuff at the end.
I don't know, because I'm looking at some of the creative teams, and I think they have their strength, right?
Yeah, I mean there's good teams. Don't get me wrong, there is.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not like I'm not as worried as you are. But again, Tom King's done how many issues of Batman, so he kind of gets the whole Bruce Wayne.
About 100, give or take now.
Yeah, right. So he knows the Bruce Wayne mentality, and so I feel like that helped this one here.
Yeah. And we go to the other next flashback, which is Edward in school, and he gets upset with his teacher, who seems like a pretty chill guy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he gets upset because he puts like a riddle at the end of his tests, and he says, "I can't possibly have learned this. This is why I lost a couple of points on that last test, is because there's this riddle at the end." And it's kind of a trick question, because it says, what is the most commonly misspelled word, or sorry, what is commonly spelled incorrectly in the English language? And the trick answer is incorrectly, because it's spelled incorrectly.
Right.
It's just a silly joke almost.
And Eddie says that it's enough, right? And he's upset that it was worth points, and it should have been worth to him extra. And it should have been extra credit, because this is not something you could study for. And it's just, again, it's a peek into a mind of a broken boy, because like this teacher doesn't know he's getting beat with a book for not being number one on the test, so the teacher's just like, "Hey, Ed, you're fine, man. You do so well. Why are you so worried?" And it's just, again, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, right after this, where the teacher's like, "No, this is just supposed to tease your brain and make you think differently." Edward goes back to his dad's office and pulls out his dad's gun and actually pulls the trigger in his head. It just happens to not be loaded. And then he bends over like he did before he gets spanked, and but there's no one there. He's just doing it on instinct. It's like this weird, sad thing. And then we cut to like some schmuck underwater, terrified for his life, who's then pulled out, and we just see the glove. Like, I love how this book doesn't like throw Batman in your face, like, and it really slowly teases him out, where you just see the glove, you just see a little bit of him here or there. He's in silhouette in the next full page spread. He's
fishing for sharks in the Gotham Harbor with a henchman, and I love it.
Yeah, he's questioning some henchmen. We get better context for this, who this is, in the next couple of scenes. But then we see Riddler convinces the person in the next cell to kill himself. Like, we just get this brutal, violent thing where this guy stabbed himself in the neck, and like Riddler's just sort of in the next cell, just with a sort of looking over, just all and like Gordon's saying he still wants, Riddler still wants to see Batman, and he won't talk to anyone but Batman. And I love how Batman's like on his way to Arkham, and as he's like traveling past people, he sees like a mugging happening. He doesn't even get out of the car. He just fires like a bind that takes the guy out, and that's it. And he just keeps driving. It's like, no, I don't have time for this. Like, there's bigger fish to fry right now. But he actually finds Riddler's father. I said he was on his way to Arkham. That was a lie. He's on his way to Riddler's father, who he's found in this little shack. And the art here is just, oh god, like Batman just in this moody sort of silhouette, but you can just see the logo in the chest. He goes up to the door, and we get the next flashback where Edward goes back to the teacher, and he wants to talk more about this riddle. And he's like, it shouldn't be worth points, that kind of thing. And the guy's like, look, this is all about, like, you need to loosen up a little bit. Not everything can be, just learned. You have to actually sort of adapt a little bit. And then we come back to Arkham, and Riddler, who apparently was nice enough to this guard before, when the guard's putting his tray of food into the slot, angles the tray up into the guy's hands, so it gets caught on the slot until his fingers get cut off. We actually get 3 panels in a 9-panel grid of like the fingers and the blood going down the tray of food until the fingers come. Wonderful.
It's so visceral too. Like Garrett's art there, because it's just, you can see the numerous times that the tray is going into the fingers until they're not there anymore. And it just, oh man, it made my skin crawl.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. And again, it's selling that Riddler is like just this vicious monster now. He's coming across, I guess, a little Hannibal Lecter in a sense, that he could just do this at any moment's notice, despite how smart he is. So Batman's with Riddler's dad, who, fires a shotgun at him. There's a great couple of panels where Batman's just dodging shotgun blasts with the flash of light coming from them. And he's here to talk about obviously Riddler, and he explains that basically he's disappointed that he became this character, this Riddler character. He was setting his son up to be on this path, but he basically went off and to play games instead, and it's kind of sets this theme of breaking away from the strict regime to play games. And you can sort of almost see this forming here, where his dad was so strict that Riddler completely had to like go the other way with all of his knowledge, and that's why he started doing what he did with all the riddles and playing with Batman and all that stuff. But yeah, this guy's just this old grump now. He's drinking in his shack. He's just kind of sad and pathetic.
I mean, for someone that was a headmaster at the most prestigious school in Gotham, he's fallen very, very far.
Yep. And of course, Batman's final question here is, who's the mother? Which is very important. And then we get the flashback back to where he's with his dad again. Yeah. So, in fact, it's basically he tricks him by telling him it was a fire, maybe even started a fire so that it was true. But he's there to cheat. He goes into the lockers that have all the test keys and stuff in them, and he sees what the riddle is, but he gets caught, of course, because the teacher, when he sees him, like he's like he changed the riddle at the last minute, so that means the only way he could have put down the answer to the previous riddle is if he had seen it and didn't even bother to read the fact that it changed. So it's this, he tries to rig the game and it doesn't work very well. Before we get to that though, Jim Gordon wants to put a straitjacket on Riddler, and he wants all these SWAT team guys to like hold him and put it on him. And Riddler starts naming all of the SWAT teams like kids, and that he'll kill them all if any of them touch him. Like, he's done being touched by anyone.
Yeah, and he says like, I'm gonna get out. I get out every time. Yep. There's no bars that can hold me. And guess what? I'm coming to your house, and I'm going to his house. So, which then makes the guards shoot at each other.
Well, I think one guard tries to shoot at Riddler because like, well, we have to kill him because it's the only way to make sure there's no threat. And then the other guards try to stop it. It ends up just being this bloodbath. And it's just left with Gordon on his knees saying, Jesus Christ, as all these dead bodies are around him. And it really sets up this new idea that Riddler is becoming ultra powerful because everyone's scared that he'll just come after them if he wants to. And we find out that Batman's investigating and talking to the neighbor of Riddler's mother, because Riddler's mother's dead, and the neighbor's telling the story of she heard someone come to her door, and there was like shouting, and then she went missing, and it turned out she was killed. We also find out she's a prostitute, and that she'd been doing that for many years, and that part of like his father's like strictness was like him trying to like atone for the fact that he had a child with a prostitute. He felt ashamed by that, so he was trying to like beat him into shape and beat him into this this prodigy. So yeah, it's a super dark story. It's very sad. And Batman gets called with a bat signal to Gordon, and Gordon's like, yeah, Riddler's waiting for you in the basketball court at Arkham, and none of the guards wanting to bind him. Everyone's too scared to do anything with him. You're the only one who can do anything now. You have to go and see him. And you feel a lot of epicness here. I think the glow of light coming off the bat signal that's like hitting Gordon's face is really strong, and again adds so much atmosphere. Like everything's raining by this point. And then you get the scene where the teacher in the flashback is like, hey, you have to learn to, like, you know, like, you're doing all this hard work for your future, but like, then what? Like, you have to learn to like stop and just like enjoy life and play a game once in a while, as he's like throwing some basketballs at the hoops. And Riddler doesn't take this too well. Young Edward snaps and kicks the teacher in the back of the head, and then starts ramming his face into the ground until he's dead. It
is so brutal.
It is so brutal. It's his first victim. It is a big, crescendo moment. And you really, you get this idea that like all these things have been planted here by King for like the strict father who made him this intelligent, so that's why he's as smart as he is. But then you've got the idea that someone was trying to teach him the riddles. So his obsession with riddles is the thing that kind of like stumped him. Is kind of why it became his thing. Yeah,
it's why it becomes his fixation.
Yeah,
it's why he has to show that he's smarter than Batman. There's also a line where they talk about that he is smarter than Luthor and Mr. Terrific, and but it's these little gimmicks that has always lead to his downfall. So it also shows that fixation is why, and without that fixation, look how dangerous he is.
Yeah, because that's his whole thing, is that he plays with Batman in the sense that he leaves Batman clues because he wants to see if Batman can figure it out, and he usually does. That's kind of the thing. He usually does figure it out. But so yeah, Batman arrives. So you get this nice transition from the basketball court of the flashback to the basketball court of the present day. And Riddler's actually, and this is the thing, if you told me before I read this there's going to be a scene where Riddler's like shooting basketball hoops, I'd have been like, wait, what? But no, it makes complete sense at this point. It represents kind of like, this link back to his past now. And he's basically like, you know what, Batman, I could threaten to kill one of the Robins, maybe not even one of the boys, maybe Cassandra or Stephanie. Oh, and that's the other thing. He casually just drops a reference to the Wayne's murder, and he's like, yeah, of course I know. Of course I figured out that you're Bruce Wayne. Like, I'm a genius.
And it's not just that. It's like, yeah, you used to go to Wayne Manor and get into your safe. But not just the safe that, is in the wall, but the one that was in your room where you keep that messed up pearl. Or what's he called it? Like, basically, is he saying it's one of Martha's pearls?
Yeah.
That he picked up. And it's like, there's no way he could have known this without actually doing it, and it just adds to that creep factor even more.
Yeah. And Batman's in silhouette, and he doesn't want to believe it. He says lies and whatnot, and he threatens the Robins and the Batgirls, and then says, but you know what, like, you think they can take care of themselves, so how about this? How about anytime you ever touch me again in any way, for every time you touch me, I will kill a random innocent person, and that will be on you. And then, after this, Batman does grab him once here. He grabs him by the neck. And
that's where it starts to feel like the Killing Joke, because of the way that Batman's drawn, and you just see the hand slowly come into each frame, and Riddler's expression changes.
Yeah, he gets scared, but then Batman says no and lets him go. And Riddler starts gloating, like, see, I win in the end. Like, I'm going to always win here. So, yeah, basically, and he also confirms that he killed his mother. He said, yeah, like, one of my henchmen went to her as a prostitute and mentioned her, so that's how he found her. So he's the one that ended up killing her. And it was almost like Riddler, because he says he asked her the question of, like, who he is, and, why is he the way that he is? And it was in the moment before she could answer that he killed her, because he didn't want there to be an answer. Like, this is the one riddle he'd ever want solved, kind of thing, or maybe just can't handle being solved.
Yeah.
So he's done playing games. He's done. He played games with Batman for a long time, and like, I'm smarter than you. There's nothing you can do about it. And Batman gets angry. There's children without a father because you wanted to make a point by killing that innocent person, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, the gate to the back of this place is open. I'm leaving, and no one's going to arrest me. And you get that sense as well. Right after this, and obviously the art looks fantastic as he's walking away in the rain. It looks really good. This idea that Batman is powerless in this moment because there's nothing he can do. And it does, and I was kind of starting to think at this point, like, how do you solve how dangerous he is now without killing him? This idea that you'll just start killing random innocent people if anyone does anything to him. And, from there you start to get, various things. Like, Bruce goes to see the widow of the dead guy again and tries to tell her that he why Riddler killed him to give her some sense of closure. And she's obviously upset, she's crying. Really smart bit of framing here. It's a 9-panel grid in the middle, so Bruce is on the left panel, she's on the right panel, and in the middle panel is like the family portrait on the wall. So a lot of thoughts went into like how to frame this to kind of like always have it hanging over the conversation. So it's very good stuff. But yeah, so again, the themes of games come back into it. Talking about her daughter wanting to play soccer. She's like, it's just a game. She's like, no, it's just a game when you're watching it, but to me, when I'm there, it's not a game.
It's not. It's all real.
Yeah. And the bat signals in the sky, and basically you get the sense that like everyone's scared. Like, the mob bosses are all saying Riddler's untouchable. The police don't touch Riddler. The banks have all agreed to just give him whatever he wants if he ever walks in and asks for anything, because he's basically just saying like, I will kill you or anyone you care about if you don't do what I want, if you harm me, if you say no to me. And it really sets us up. So the final scene of this whole issue, Batman's looking up at the signal, and the last panel of him looking up at the signal, which is a really nice little touch, because it's like it's dual panels of both Batman and Riddler looking up at the signal in the sky. And the last panel is Batman putting his head down as if he feels powerless and can't do anything, and Riddler looking up at the signal in this kind of almost gloaty kind of way. Apparently Max is just even surrendered to authorities because he's not a god anymore, because Riddler's like
Riddler is, yeah. Well, and the other thing with the crime bosses, none of them were gonna play ball, but then all 5 of their wives ended up dead.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
And so so they're like, oh no, we're playing ball now. And it's like, oh my god, yeah. And now he's starting to go through the other rogues from Batman's gallery, and yeah, it's hooey.
And then the final scene is a POV scene from Riddler, where he's looking at the mirror, he's putting on his hat, and we're hearing from the phone. He's got like a camera bugged up and next to the bat signal, and it's Batman talking to Gordon. So, and it's been them having this conversation, talking about like everything he's doing, and Batman's like, yeah, he knows that I've got a weakness for mercy, and I know he's bugged us. I know he's listening to us now. But then as it keeps going, he starts saying, he wouldn't question himself that he could change. I would never let go of the reins that hold me back, kind of thing. And that was his mistake. He thinks he knows me. That was Batman's mistake as well. He thought he knew Riddler, and Riddler changed. Riddler became this more vicious, version. And the final page, which is exactly the same as that the end of that first scene, which is the first 5 panels have, the rest of the scene, and then the last 4 panels are black, is Riddler, looks down to pick up his hat once again, and it's becoming clear from like the live feed of the roof that it's actually a recording and that it's not really happening right now, that Batman's outsmarted them. And when Riddler puts his hat on, he sees Batman standing behind him, and you sort of hear the recording playing. Batman saying, "Riddle me this, Edward. Though we meet once, but you know me forever thereafter. What am I?" And Riddler looks scared, and then the panels go to black, and that's the end of the book. This was a phenomenal issue, and this ending is perfect. Obviously I never want Batman to kill, but if the point of this is to explore what some of these villains do to push them that far, the idea that Riddler is effectively becoming a dictator of Gotham because everyone's too scared to touch him.
Yeah, and when you think about the real world stuff about how people rule through fear like that, where someone thinks they're untouchable, but if you can make other people feel that they're untouchable, then it's the same thing, right? Of them being actually. And so, but it takes someone to finally be like, well, I got nothing to lose, right? So that's where Batman's like, well, I got this. I can beat him. And yeah, man, when you realize it's a recording at the end, and that he's not on the rooftop, he's in the room. Man, it was so good.
Yeah, it's like straight up comeuppance as well, because the book starts with Riddler doing this to someone else, and it's like brutal and it's like unjust, and at the end the same thing happens to him, and it's it's this great moment. And you don't have to read it as he actually kills him. You can, I mean, even though the riddle at the end implies that it's going to be death, that's what the riddle's kind of getting at. Is I feel like, yeah, you can read this in different ways of like, no, Batman can still scare him. He is not untouchable. Right. Even if Batman himself has to just lock him up in a cage that, is just like only the Bat family have got access to it and like no one else can get to.
Hey, Robin's not using that secret prison anymore.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you can read it that way if you want. You can read it as this is what it finally takes to do it. But it does a great job of like making Riddler seem scary and that everyone is terrified of him. Yeah,
it's similar to that story that I can't find the name of. I was searching for it as we were talking. But there's a story with the Scarecrow that's very similar. There was 2 issues in a Detective Comics where someone challenges Scarecrow to be scary without using toxin. And he basically becomes a serial killer and gets Gotham to hold still for like a month, and until Batman can figure out what's his next move because he's not using any gimmicks. So then you take someone like Riddler, who is smart, and you give him the no gimmicks thing, and it turns him into an actual like scary threat. Like you said, I didn't think about Hannibal Lecter until you brought that up, but it is very Hannibal Lecter, about doing things because he can. And then you have the whole tragic backstory that, he was a gifted kid, but he got pushed too hard in the wrong direction, Well, maybe if his dad had not pushed him as hard and let him, basically enjoy life and not have to be the best at everything, then, who knows what Riddler would have became.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically pushed to believe that like failure was not an option. You have to be the best at everything. There was no, the amount of stress that was put upon him is severe. So
yeah,
it's an interesting origin for him, and the story itself really sells him as this like scary villain, and the idea of like that this whole thing building up to the possible motivation for Batman to break his one rule. It's really well done. So
yeah, Gerads art's too. So when it shifts between the flashback and it has that orange kind of sheen over all of it, I thought that was really cool because it contrasts with the dark part of what's going on. Also, the color green throughout because of Riddler's color scheme and whatever. Like that scene on the basketball court where it's just him and Batman and the whole thing looks green, has that shade on it. Man, it's so good. Him with the panda eyes and that he has going on the whole time, it just makes him look that much creepier. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, man, this was an all-time Riddler story. And up to this point, my favorite Riddler stuff was the Paul Dini, him trying to turn a new leaf and become a private detective.
Oh yeah, I will say that this origin story does not work with that version of Riddler that tries to turn over a new leaf.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So, but I just want to point out that up till then, they're like, when you think of definitive Riddler stories, I really can't think of any. Right? I mean, spoilers for other stuff, but like he ends up being the reason that Hush happens, right? But it's not his story. But
no.
So there's not that one Riddler story. But I did enjoy the Paul Dini stuff, him trying to go straight and prove that he's smarter than Batman, and he has that chip on his shoulder. And here I feel like we have that definitive Riddler story now, whether it's continuity or not. If someone wants to understand the Riddler and why the Riddler's a scary villain in Gotham, when you have Joker running around, this Tom King and Mitch Gerads really did a good job of that.
Yeah, art's phenomenal. The way the story builds up and sets up, it's it really is a great one and done story of building up to this ending and kind of the point of it. And it's probably a very similar length to Killing Joke. All these will be, because Killing Joke's only about 60 pages, maybe 80 pages, something like that. It's not a super long story. So, no, fantastic. I was super into it. And the bar's been set quite high for these One Bad Day one shots now, because
for sure
we'll see if any can live up to this one, or if this is the peak of them. But what are you giving One Bad Day the Riddler?
So I have no bad things to say about this, except that it took me 3 tries to read just because it was so long. and with that being said, this was a 10.
Yeah. Did I want to give it a 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I'll give it a 10.
Yeah, I really can't, like, if I wanted, like, there's not bad characterization. I feel Batman's handled really well.
Yeah,
I like all the Bruce stuff.
The only possible minor critique I could even throw at it is, does it even make sense that no one else tried to kill him before potentially Batman did? Like, surely someone could have snuck up behind him and just popped him in the back of the head.
Right. But when that's the whole thing, though. If they feel he's untouchable, they don't want to deal with the consequences. They don't know if he's got a crew of people. That's how I would rationalize all that.
Yeah, so, I know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's a reach. It's a reach for a critique because I don't really have any other ones.
Yeah.
So no, fantastic. The more Tom King and Mitch Gerads in my life I can have, the better.
Yeah. So far between now Human Target, Batman Killing Time, and now this Riddler special, Tom King's really, Superwoman or Supergirl and Rorschach. He's really been on an all-time run.
Yeah, Strange Adventures was overlapping that as well.
Yeah, Strange Adventures. So, we're going good. It's almost like we don't have to talk about that other book that no one likes to talk about. So, but yeah, just let Tom King keep telling these type of stuff. Anytime Mitch wants to team with him, I'm here for it. And I hope enough people pre-ordered it that Mitch has to get that stupid tattoo. I haven't seen any updates, so maybe it didn't happen, but people should have read this book for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad book. I imagine it'll be read fairly well, especially when when I don't know how they're going to collect them. Maybe because I mean, given that it's about 70 pages, and there's 8 of these, I have to imagine there'll be 2 volumes, like maybe 4 each.
Yeah,
just to keep the size down a bit. But there you go. That is Batman One Bad Day, the Riddler issue 1. For something that I wasn't necessarily that pumped about when they announced it, this was a amazingly strong start for them. So, Matt's going to read and enjoy more Batman. Everyone rejoice.
I don't think I'm going to read every single one. Although, we all say that, but I'm liking what Chip's doing over in Batman. Ram V in tech. So yeah, every time I try to get tired of Batman, DC goes, "No, you're not."
Well, I mean, I've got a feeling you're going to read the Tamaki one. I've got a feeling that you'll probably read the John Ridley one.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're probably not as attached to Jerry Duggan, but I mean, Mr. Freeze you like, so I feel like you'll probably want to try that. G. Willow Wilson doing a Catwoman, I feel like you're going to be into that. Joshua Williamson doing Bane, not as exciting, but...
Yeah, but I love Bane and I love Josh Williamson, so stop it, DC.
Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing doing Clayface. That's probably the weakest one so far, although I do love Clayface. But it is Zdarsky on the art, so you have the art point on that one.
They're throwing it.
And then the final one is Tom Taylor doing Ra's al Ghul. So
again, favorites.
So you're reading all of these, Matt. I'm just going to say.
I know. I was trying to say I wasn't going to. Yeah, so far the Clayface one, but I do like Clayface. But yeah, Tamaki. Who's the artist on the Tamaki one?
Oh, I'll tell you.
Pull that back up.
Fernandez, Javier Fernandez.
Fernandez, dude, Two-Face. Two-Face is my favorite Batman villain. Because I don't count Ivy, right? Although Ivy keeps it up, man. She's gonna be back on that villains list. But yeah, all my favorite villains are here. So, dang, except for Killer Croc. So, but that might be, who knows? Who's doing the Penguin one?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Matt.
I saw you put it down. That's why I asked.
Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Yeah, but who's the writer?
Oh, John Ridley.
Oh, that's right. The Ridley's.
Yeah.
Shoot.
All right, let's move on, shall we? Nightwing, issue 95. Tom Taylor writing with Bruno Redondo back on the art after an issue or two off. So this is exciting stuff. Blockbuster got his sister, Melinda.
Yeah, the mayor.
In the last issue, there's some funny banter. Electrocutioner can't change the settings on his electric shocks, which seems a bit silly given that's his whole thing. But you know.
Yeah, but he's like, I have one job and it's to electrocute, so I only need one level. I thought that was real funny.
Yeah, but of course Nightwing, pops in and saves her. Big sequence of him jumping through the door and drop kicking whoever that other dude is in the face.
The other one.
Yeah. So he gets Melinda and they're on the way out and Blockbuster's like, "Oh, you're not going through me, Nightwing." He's like, "I guess I am." And that's when Melinda's friend Audrey runs into him with a car. This is very similar actually to a scene in the second Resident Evil remake. In Resident Evil 2, the game, where Mr. X is coming after Leon and Ada rams him with a car.
Yeah. It's a very good trope that they use in action movies a lot.
Yeah.
And it worked very well here.
He's a similar size though, which is I think what made me think of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously Blockbuster's concerned that she knows too much, and we just see how far his reach is because the former commissioner, who's like, "I've got a lot of info on Blockbuster, and you're not going to get any of it unless I get full immunity." And it turns out the two cops that are interrogating him are corrupt and are working for Blockbuster and shoot him on the spot because he just said that he would give everything up if he gets immunity.
Bloodhaven ain't Gotham, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think the cops in Bloodhaven are way worse. Because 5 minutes later, Maggie Sawyer comes in and is like, "Wait a minute, who the hell was talking to him?" And she feels that she can't trust most of the Force. She's going to have to wean out the Force over time. And basically he's like, "Shit, we can't do anything." And that's when Melinda's like, "Hey, I've got something for you," and takes her to the roof where Nightwing and Batwoman are waiting. And he's like, "No, we actually have the info that the former commissioner said he had, because Melinda knows it all, and we have to take down all of his operations at the same time, and we can stop a lot of it." So this is a big issue. This is a big culminating issue for Nightwing working with the police to take down all of Blockbuster stuff. I love the reasoning for Batwoman being here because I saw her, I was like, "Oh cool, Batwoman's there," but it's like, oh, this is so that Maggie will take it more seriously because she has a history with Kate. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's really smart." I actually really appreciate that. And I love what's the deal with you two? I was supposed to marry her. Oh, and just Dick, the awkwardness there. Was super funny. Yeah,
that was good stuff. And then obviously the Teen Titans, Dick's Teen Titans and the Bat family show up to be the help to go around and take all these things down. Because Maggie's like, "I can't trust most of my police force. Who am I supposed to do this with?" And he's like, "That's all right, we've got people." So it's this multi sort of tiered action thing where there's a boat to take out, there's a plane to take out, there's a truck, and there's a warehouse full of money with Maroney sitting about
coming through. And then so they all split off to take him out at the same time. So I like that you got the Teen Titans going and taking out the shipment on the plane that left Bloodhaven. You have the Bat family going after the boat, right? You have Dick and that crew handling one of them. So it's I like how the art was structured there.
Yeah, it's a 2-page layout where just 4 very wide panels, sort of one by one. Wally's going after the truck, so you get a variety in each panel of just all these things happen simultaneously. And when Blockbuster realizes this is all happening, he's he wants to retaliate, and he fires a rocket launcher at Haven, the place for the homeless kids that Dick's just built.
He has no chill.
Oh, not at all.
None.
He is immediately on this warpath to show how dangerous he is. And then Oracle yells that Blockbuster's hit Haven. So he runs off there. He goes up to the Haven library where Blockbuster has 2 children in his hands. He's going to crush their heads if Dick doesn't put down his sticks.
Isn't one of them the little boy that his dad got killed by Heartless.
That sounds right. It probably
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So Blockbuster starts beating the shit out of Nightwing, and you see the mask come up, and the final page is that he sees who it is. He sees it's Dick Grayson, who Blockbuster's been pissed at for this. You know, this entire run. Blockbuster's hated Dick Grayson for trying to clean up the city.
Yeah.
So he says Dick Grayson, and the last panel is Blockbuster looking super pissed, like gritting his teeth, like he's ready to like kill him.
Yeah.
I thought this was a fantastic issue that paid off like everything it's been doing up until now.
So good. And again, drawing the comparisons with Daredevil, right? That was very much a Daredevil Kingpin confrontation at the end.
Oh sure. Yeah.
And like that's not a slight because I love Daredevil. I love that the everything, the mythos behind it. And so the fact that, that Blockbuster is a Kingpin like character, that Dick's attacking him from two fronts, right? As Dick Grayson and as Nightwing. And now he's kind of lost one of those, you know, because of this. And I'm sure Dick's going to get out of it, right? Like how, I'm not quite sure yet. But his friends have been there the whole time, right? Like,
yeah, I'm sure they're going to pop in. I think what I love about this issue is, like, obviously it's paying off, like, everything up until now with Blockbuster, but it's Blockbuster immediately just, like, throwing a fit and just doing something as chaotic as, taking a rocket launcher and then threatening to kill these kids so he can have a proper fight with Nightwing because he's pissed at him now. And then realizing that this is who he's been fighting all along is a great cliffhanger. I don't know. Everything about it just felt like, okay, this is like a nice big... it feels like we're ending an act to this run here. Yeah. Before we maybe move back into like the Heartless stuff or whatever, depending on how it's going to go. Yeah. So, no, I love this issue.
Yeah, a small little thing too is on that last page, as Blockbuster's looking at Dick, and you just get the oh no. Just it's very small down near the bottom.
And the narration, yeah.
Yeah, and the narration. So, yeah, man. No, this was a really, really solid issue. Like this, Redondo's art's on point. The colors with the fire, like Blockbuster's already a shade of pink normally. So the way that the colors all bounce off of them in the fire with the shading and everything, it's really comes along. So, and just with when he fires the rocket and just all the green and stuff that's in Haven, just the coloring on this is real nice. Goes with the Redondo real well.
Yeah, I also loved it when Melinda's taking Maggie up to the roof to meet Dick and Kate. There's a great little, like, the final panel on that page, you see like a bit of a cape coming in, so we know it can't just be Dick because, well, like he doesn't have a cape. So you think, oh, Batgirl, maybe she's there, or maybe it's Batman's with him. But no, it turns out to be Batwoman. And I love the reason for it being her. But it was a nice little tease of like, wait a minute, this is, I was expecting Dick. Why is there a cape there? So it was a nice little tease getting to the next page just to, give you a little bit of, I don't know, excitement.
And I always, when people always are like, well, why do you like Nightwing or Dick Grayson so much? And it came from a thing that I remember Jeff John saying, is that really Dick Grayson's the cornerstone of the DCU. Is that he's kind of the character that Bruce always needed to be, to where it's like, yeah, Bruce has allies, but really outside of Superman, does Bruce have any friends? Where that's all Dick Grayson has. And the fact that he's so, like, he gets them involved to help him. Like, not that he needs their help, but it's just kind of like Bloodhaven's a lot to clean up, and he can rely on his friends to help, even if he doesn't want them to. And I like that they keep coming back in. I love that the Teen Titans keep showing up. The Bat Family, Wally, it shows why Dick Grayson's such a great character in the DCU.
I think this run is doing such a good job of being a continuous, ongoing story. Whereas, I feel like a lot of other runs right now feel they're just going arc to arc, where they finish the arc and then they start a new arc,
segmented.
And that's it. This feels more like there's a sort of game plan thought out, where it's kind of like, there's overlapping between the Heartless and Blockbuster stuff, and I loved their interaction when it happened a few issues ago. With the going out the window and all that shit, that was great.
Yep.
So like, this is great because it feels like a culmination of a bunch of stuff, and the cliffhanger is great, and this is a big game changer. Blockbuster knows who he is, and maybe some magic character will be brought in to like wipe his memory or something. But I'm excited to see at least a little bit of Blockbuster knows who Dick Grayson is, and that's going to be how he targets him now.
Yeah, what also gets me too is that the mayor has the information now. If she can stay clean, because she was put in there by Blockbuster, but if she's turning evidence on him, they have stuff to put him away. So that might just be enough that he's just in jail and they have to just worry about him ever getting out or beating the charges or whatever. And that's why he's gone for a little bit. But him knowing that Dick Grayson's Nightwing is a problem, unless it's a Superman thing where he just lets everybody know. But I can't see them doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll go that route. I don't know if Kingpin. Sorry, it's Freudian slip there. If Blockbuster will care about revealing who he is, like I don't know if it ever matters to him. Unless he just wants to piss him off. But like, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But the cliffhanger is definitely exciting for next issue. Yeah. So. Is next issue when they finally take him down and arrest him, or do we spiral into other things? So we'll see. What are you giving Nightwing issue 95?
I mean, that's one of 9.5.
Oh, I was just gonna go straight 9, but yeah, that's fair.
It's really the Redondo art back. It's really nice. So and the story really hit, and it felt like Nightwing's like a comfort food of a comic, but it's also a comfort food that's like good for you. So. It felt nice. Yeah, no, the runs barely missed a step since it started, and it's felt if you're a Dick Grayson fan, if you're a Nightwing fan, I feel like this run, like, I can't imagine how could be upset with it because it's playing everything in the right way, and the way it tackles the character and how he interacts with the characters around him and the world around him, and like his heart especially, and like what he wants to do for Bloodhaven, all of it's been great stuff. So, and the fact that there's a big bad called Heartless out there, that's
the opposite of Dick Grayson.
Nightwing's heart, So
he is the heart of DCU, and he's got a villain named Heartless. Yes, there's an irony there. Yes, very good.
God, Tom Taylor's so good.
All right, that's Nightwing issue 95. The Flash 785. Jeremy Adams writing with Amancay and Nahuelpan on the art. This is the final and third part of the search for Barry Allen. All the different Flash characters in the multiverse, with Linda deciding that she wants to go after her kids at the start of the issue, and Terrific reluctantly opens up the portal for her, so she dives in, and we get these stories playing out. This one actually cuts back and forth a little bit more, because the last couple issues were very just in thirds. It was like the first third was this Earth, the second third was this Earth, and the third third was this Earth. This one does bounce back a little bit more around because, and it kind of has to, because obviously one wraps up and then they pop up in the next story and so on. But so the kids are with this other child-looking character who's telling them that Night Flash, this Batman style version of the Flash, is evil. He's a dictator. He's all these things, and these two decide that they want to like go after him. We get the backstory, which is kind of a mixture of the Wayne's dying and also the Flash origin. It's kind of both at the same time. But yeah, like, we need to prove we're superheroes, so we're going to go after this bad Flash character. We're going to take him on. That's Irie that says that, and Jay's like, what? Let's think about this now, sis. Come on, let's think about the logic of this. Meanwhile, Max Mercury and Jesse Quick are helping Mad Max Barry, on his mission. Petition
for a 6-issue miniseries based off of this Earth. I need to know more. Right? I know it's Mad Max meets Flash, but I need to know.
Yeah. So
what's the deal?
Yeah, basically they're going to hold off the fleet of vehicles and the villains, whilst Barry goes and puts the last part of magic, the last thing that's magical on this Earth, at the source, and it turns out later it's to release water so that the world can start to form again and
hydrate.
So and then of course we have the real Barry, who's brainwashed right now, beating up Wally, thinking it's Thawne in the Silver Age looking world, until Linda is the one that ends up saving him, bizarrely, and snaps him out of it by being quite stern. But sure enough, it works. And they go off to find Wallace. Meanwhile, the twist on the other Earth is that the kid that was with Jay and Irie is actually the villain, who is Benjamin Buttoning ever since he got his powers.
Yeah, he's a Maroney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knives Maroney, specifically.
It's Knives Maroney, and that he was there to kill Barry's dad, but whatever gave Barry the powers to become the Night Flash started to age him backwards, so now he's a kid.
Yep.
And I love this idea of a character. You know, the Benjamin Button mobster that has a penchant for knives. Like, why not? Like,
yeah. And also, he grabs one of the kids' multiverse like transport, watches, and it kind of implies at the end that he's going to be in an arc of the Flash book. We're going to get Knives Maroney as a character popping up on the regular Earth.
Yes, please, Jeremy Adams. You're doing a lot of fun stuff here.
Yeah, I was into it. And then the Mad Max stuff, like as you expect, the two characters deal with everything, and then Barry on this Earth smashes this magical orb which releases water, and it shoots up out the ground, and happy days. And then the other characters, Wally, Barry, and Linda go to get Wallace from the family home, and all the family members start acting kind of creepy. But they get him and go on their way. But the big thing is that Barry's not going to go with them. Barry says, no, like, you've described to me what's happened. I have to stay and try and find the Justice League. I'll be the one that does that. So it's worth mentioning that the others now, like, at least, Wally and the other Flash characters, they know the Justice League aren't dead. That's out of the bag now. They know that they're just trapped somewhere.
Like he was. So it looked like Barry had died because he did the disintegration thing too.
Yep.
But it was just to put him on that world to keep him pacified, like the other ones. So Wally's like, yep, so it's up to us to help save the world then. So this actually spins into Dark Crisis 4, but it does also say next time on The Flash. Actually, it says next time on The Flash. It says the Flash family join forces to fight against Pariah's forces on Earth Zero. So it sounds like we're still doing sort of some Dark Crisis tie-in stuff, even though it's not the official tie-in anymore. So that's interesting. But yeah, I had fun with this issue. I think this little arc is, it's some of the side stories like in the other universes kind of didn't amount to much. They're kind of quick and throwaway, but they were fun enough in what they were. I got some chuckles out of them, and it was fun seeing some of the set pieces. The Mad Max Earth was kind of fun to see, especially just because it was such a cool design aesthetic, and the villain was very, it was almost like Granny Goodness had got some Mad Max gear on. The thing that got me on the Night Flash Earth is when Irie and Jay are talking about stuff, and he calls himself Surge, and she's like, and she's gonna say Impulse. She's like, oh, now I need a new name. So I did like that.
They're building up to it. I thought they were going to do it by the end of the issue, but they're saving it. They're saving it for whenever.
I like the Night Flash twist, and of course Barry's not some evil bat dictator because he still is Barry Allen at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's just Flash Batman. He's still a good guy. Yeah.
And stuff, and
he was just he was just scary initially because Batman's scary to kids because of course he is.
Right. Well, and he's also scary to adults. But the one thing that got me was there was the page where Barry's going after Wally thinking he's Thawne, and the art on that page is just kind of chaotic and it was hard to read because I didn't know what to follow. A little bit better of a layout there, but the art was fine. Like you said, the design aesthetics in the other Earths work out really well.
I think Nahuelpan's solid. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like an exceptional piece of art, but as far as house style artists go, I think Nahuelpan's up there. So, it's fun issue. It's been a fun book for a while now. If nothing exceptional, but that's okay. It could just be a fun Flash book. What are you giving the Flash? 7.85.
Yeah, it's a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. 7.5 is kind of where I'd be sitting as well. So, good stuff. Batman Superman World's Finest, issue 6, Mark Waid writing with Travis Moore now on the art. which and they are still good, although obviously Dan Mora is a tough act to follow.
However, you could do a lot worse than Travis Moore. The art was
you
very,
absolutely could.
very gentle and soft kind of art, and very welcoming.
So yeah, the art is very good, and this is the story of where Robin landed in time, and it turns out he's towards the end of the 19th century, right? It's 1892, and he, would you believe it? He finds a circus to join to sort of pass the time until help comes to get him out of the timeline.
Yep.
And he's got a bit of a mystery. There's a sort of thing where a couple of guys have been killed, and they've been blaming it on the animals, and they're going to kill this lion, and Dick interferes and says, "Nope, I'm not letting you do that. Let's actually prove who the culprit is just now."
He manages to do modern science in 1892. And between that and some of the dialogue throughout this book, I know Mark Waid is just playing with the silver aginess of it, because it feels very intentional.
I mean, I don't think the modern science thing's that ridiculous. Like, he knows techniques and he's got some tools in his tool belt. Like, I can get...
I mean, to analyze blood, though, in 1892, to know if they came from an animal, or it's just, I don't know. Maybe I watched too much murder documentaries.
Maybe he knows what the human blood looks like, so he instantly just knows that this is wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just feel that Wade's definitely leaning into the silver AG, because
it's not like he's checking DNA and like stuff like that.
No, but still, and also him going to the circus and being the trapeze artist, and I was like, please don't end this up that he's the first Grayson. Let's not do a time circle type thing. And thankfully they didn't.
No, the transition to like Batman showing up is quite fun, because Dick's doing the his trapeze stuff, and he just sort of gets grabbed by Batman, and it's like, "Oh, you're here," and they kind of like talk, and it's like, yeah, they found him by because Dick left a message under a rock, which they found in the future, and they trace it back to then, and Superman's there as a classic strong man. He's got his top off, which is fits his look, because that's kind of what his outfit was originally based on.
Yep, I love that part. That was real fun.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all.
And the lady in the circus hitting on him,
Sure, yeah.
It's like, what are you made out of, you beefcake? That was so funny to me.
Yeah, so it's all very pleasant. It's kind of nice and lighthearted and fun, with the mystery to solve. But they stick around for a little bit to see, to solve this case. The bad guy sets a fire, of course, and Superman has to put it out. And it turns out that the guy they were working for was actually the culprit, because he was killing these other thieves that had joined the circus, and there was a big bag of money, and it was all a ruse, and Robin
so
figures it out.
Yeah, these three guys that had joined the circus right before Dick did, and two of them are the ones that end up dead, and so they think it's the one guy, and they're trying to pin it on the animals, but come to find out that the animal trainer uncovered them and wanted to be cut in after they killed the first guy. So then he decided to flip on them to keep it all for himself. And,
he wants bigger shares as he goes. Yeah. So it's a decent little story. It's a nice light-hearted. I think what I appreciate about this, like you say, the silver agency of it, there's just a nice like fun feeling to the whole thing. That is just kind of comforting. And the art's pretty solid. I felt this is a really nice time, this book, and even more so this issue, because it was away from all the demon stuff. I got to just enjoy kind of a fun, like, Batman Superman story that featured Robin. I mean, Robin was the main character in this issue, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see what they do next time. But yeah, they're starting the Boy Thunder stuff next issue.
Right. So
we'll see what they do with that, with this new sidekick style character. But I had a good time. I think it has this sense of whimsy to it, and I'm not a big whimsy guy generally, but there's a certain sort of like type of whimsy that I think works in comics, because you've got this kind of nostalgia for simpler times, and I think Wade's very much been going for that in the book in general. But I think here again, it feels like he's really playing it up with all the circus stuff for Robin.
Yeah. Well, and then still with the Silver Agey stuff too, of like, oh, we followed your Tachyon trail to the past, and it just hand waves it away in one thing, so you can enjoy the story of Robin solving a murder in a circus. And like you said, but you're not like, it's nothing to get too caught up on. because the story is still so fun and lighthearted that it goes down real smooth.
Yep. All right, what are you giving Batman Superman World's Finest issue 6?
I'm gonna give this one an 8.
Yeah, I agree with that. Straight 8. Nice and simple, solid. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Batman the Night issue 8. Chip Zdarsky writing with Carmine Giandomenico on the art. And this is 8 of 10, so we're getting nearish the end of this story. Yeah. This one, you know, it has Bruce kind of paranoid that someone's been sabotaging his training around the world, and he's just leaving this one woman that he's been working with to go to whoever he's got next. And it turns out it's this guy that he wants to help train his mind with, right? Because his body's ready, he's done all the fighting, he's done all the jumping off buildings and the cat burglar stuff and all that.
Yep.
But he goes to this character, Daniel something or other, who is like, you know, one of the smartest men on earth, and it's all about training his mind to be ready as well. The idea that he's still too distracted by his fear and his anger and all that stuff, and he wants to get rid of that. Which, as this character puts it later, is you kind of essentially came to me to become a sociopath. And obviously it doesn't work, and I appreciated that. I appreciated that the story here was that he realized that he couldn't give up this part of him, that it was always going to be there. Yeah, he acts tough as Batman, he acts very cold and uncaring, but
at the end of the day, he saw that scared little boy in the alley.
Yeah.
And that's what he has to overcome to hit the next level.
Not that none of it's useful though, because it does, like, part of this is it teaches him how to ignore pain. It basically convinces his mind that he doesn't feel any pain, so we get a little bit of that going on. So, you know, there's some interesting ideas kind of sprinkled throughout. The bigger stuff in this issue though is that he's convinced that Anton, is the one who's been sabotaging his stuff. But then it turns out there's a bit of a twist here, because Anton shows up and he's like trying to warn Bruce, and Anton's like already been hurt, and he, like, you know, lays there in pain, dying. And it turns out there's this other character who's been following them, who's been like wanting to deal with them. And I was like, oh god, please don't be Ghostmaker. that was my thing.
Ghostmaker's in this book.
I saw him on a rooftop. I did see that. Are they going to like swerve us here and say that Ghostmaker's Anton?
Yes, I fully believe that's where it's going, because
it feels like they might be.
Yeah, because it feels like Zdarsky's making a big deal of with the Sky Spider, that the person that Anton before took her other scarf, and when you see him with the mask on at the end, it's very Ghostmaker.
I did notice that.
So yeah, so I was like, oh man, so Anton's following him around, but I did like the swerve that we got, because what it leads to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because we see someone that looks like Ghostmaker, like it's really small in a panel earlier on, which is why I thought it was going to be Ghostmaker that was following them. It turned out it's this other character, this new character, called Distill. So, but Batman uses the other guy's cape here. It's a red cape, but he uses it like a cape here, so you get some sort of proto Batman type action as he's using it to shield himself from the knives that he's getting thrown at him and stuff.
Yeah, as much as I dislike the Batman tropes, I do like a good, you know, this is why he wears the cape, right? And it's like to help stop bullets and knives because it's Kevlar lined or whatever. I always like that, you know. There's Batman's very utilitarian, so the fact that here this is why he uses it to help guard against the knives, I think, is a cool touch.
Yeah, and this fight, you know, with the still takes place in the rain. They're on a cliff's edge. There's lightning in the background. Obviously, they probably go too far to make it dramatic. It's got every trick in the book to make it feel dramatic and epic. But it's not a bad fight by any means. The art's good. Domenico does action very well and how it flows. But of course, Bruce makes this choice that he's not going to be a killer. He grapples him when he's going over the cliff. He ends up falling anyway, but not because Bruce doesn't try. So, you know, but he lands on like a sort of elevated part, so he doesn't actually get killed anyway. And you know, Bruce comes down and has a bit of a word with him, as it will. But he says, "I am the right hand man of the one who would save the world," and I'm like, you've got a very League of Assassins look to you, dude.
Weird.
Yeah, so it builds up. He disappears as the waves crash around him because they're down at the water at this point. And yeah, Bruce is pissed because the guy he was with was showing him like photoshopped images of dead Alfred and stuff to like scare the shit out of him. But ultimately, this is building up to going off to train with Ra's al Ghul. But what's interesting though is that he's back with Anton, and Anton is like they've kind of like Bruce is like, I still not approve of like what you did to like some of the previous masters. I'm not approving of killing. But there's kind of like an understanding, and that they're both still going after. Like, at the very least, Anton did try to warn them. He's not just some killer. He's not just a killer. Anyway, there is more complex layers to him.
Right, and the still has been following him since they left the sensei in the Himalayas. So so it's been a long time. So Roz has had his eye on these two since at least then, which we kind of were feeling through all those issues ago. Yeah.
So it says they're off to see Ra's al Ghul at the end, which is fun. This being a stealth backdoor origin of Ghostmaker, like it actually works well enough in how it's happened, but on principle, I'm angry at it.
yeah. Don't make me like Ghostmaker, Zdarsky. Okay.
I mean, I would never say I liked Anton though. I would say he worked well enough in the story.
No.
I never really liked him though.
Right, but I feel like the reason I didn't like Ghostmaker when he was introduced in Tynan's run was that he was because Batman. And here with Anton, there's the one-upmanship that you can see from the time they first meet that makes him a much more compelling character when you see not just his face or whatever, but when you understand who he is. And we still don't know his full story, his backstory, or whatever. But the fact that he's this foil still for Bruce, even as they're training, and that we can get to the point where he's introduced and it doesn't feel like he's in our face because he's not here, right? He was gone for all the last issue. That was the Zatanna stuff, right? And there's no mention of Anton in that one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I still don't really like Ghostmaker that much as a character, but funny enough, I think I said back when they introduced Anton that it felt a bit Ghostmaker-y because he's got this rival, and that's kind of what we knew about Ghostmaker. So it's kind of funny that we never just guessed that, he's just going to turn out to be Ghostmaker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think it is? I think I never realized at that point or remembered that Ghostmaker, we didn't know what his name was, so we didn't have like a. But there's a mystery. There's a mystery to solve about who he is.
Someone went to call him something, and it did start with an A. I remember that.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well,
but so I'm not as annoyed as I should be, but I still don't like Ghostmaker that much. But here I feel like Zdarsky's using him well because he is kind of that foil without being like an outright villain. You know what I mean? Like I totally feel there's another turn coming that he's gonna do something to mess with Bruce around Roz. There's still 2 issues left. We still know that they aren't on good terms when we first meet him in the Tynan stuff. Because there was that whole "you stay out of my city." They have like a deal. So, but
yeah. So the issue's done well enough. It's still not my. I think like these last 2, I didn't like as much as the couple before that. I think that one in the forest where they had that standoff where Anton wanted to kill the guy. That was the peak of this book for me so far.
That was really good. I did like the Zatanna stuff just because it was, to me, it was very Temple of Doom-esque in that it's Bruce realizing that there's a whole other world out there and that he is completely small and insignificant in comparison. And I like that aspect of it. Plus, I'm a sucker for Zatanna. Not as much as Connor, but,
Yeah.
But you're right. That one in the forest with the marksman still is the top notch of this book.
Yeah. Like, I do like this fleshing out of his training time before he became Batman, like, finally.
Yeah.
And I can't just say I'm mad about Anton because Anton's essential for that forest issue, so he needs to exist.
Right.
But I thought Anton was someone when I didn't realize it was going to be Ghostmaker, which I'm pretty sure he is now. I was expecting him to be dead by the end of the story or something. Right. That's why Anton's never shown up, but he has because he's Ghostmaker. So
it was really seeing him at the end of that, at the end of this issue with that mask on, and I was like, wow, he's definitely Ghostmaker, isn't he? So, but maybe there's another swerve coming. Who knows? Maybe he gets Lazarus pitted, and he does die. I don't know.
Sure. All right. What are you giving Batman the Night issue 8?
I'm gonna give this one an 8.5.
I'll probably just go with a straight 8 on this. I think. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. It just doesn't quite pop in the same way in terms of like narrative conflicts in the same way that a couple of my more favorite issues of this book have. The training in particular didn't seem as exciting or as interesting as some of the other issues, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's Batman the Night issue 8. Black Adam issue 3, Christopher Priest writing with Rafa Sandoval on the art. And I have to say, obviously the cover's gorgeous because it's that beautifully realistic painting of Black Adam. I must say this is probably my least favorite of these issues out of the 3. I don't know how you feel.
I won't say that it's my least favorite. However, there's an awful lot of mythology at play that I had to keep cross-referencing. And I had a very long day yesterday. I had this at the end of the night. I might have dozed off twice while reading it. So it feels very much like a fever dream, which kind of works in the favor. Because that's kind of what this issue is for Black Adam.
Like, yeah, there's kind of this thing where Black Adam's talking to, who is it at the start, who he thinks he's talking to?
So he thinks he's talking to Assad, but it ends up being a Sumerian god.
Yeah, it ends up being Ishtar. Yeah, it ends up being Ishtar who kisses them. And then it's kind of like he's in this like weird, whether it's real or not, but it's like he's in like a hell of sorts whilst he's lying on the hospital bed. So we go back to Malik and like the manager. Well, not manager. I don't know why I called him that. The agent dude who's like his handler.
Liaison, yeah.
And it's all about Malik sort of thinking outside the box, like to try and save him. He ends up using like his Shazam power, like a defibrillator, where he like puts his hands on Black Adam's chest and says Shazam, and I'm like, that is a really cool concept. I wish it was in something else because I don't think it is. It's like a cool action beat that I wish was at the end of a big action scene where I really cared about someone dying.
Yeah, I also like that he's like, well, I'm treating the wrong person because this Theo is dead, but Black Adam is invulnerable, so maybe I need to treat him instead of him, and that's when he changes him back. And just the whole look of when he uses the power that his suit looks like Scrubs with the lightning bolt on it too. I like that aspect, just on the art side. But yeah, this Malik as a character is someone that's really growing on me. There's a certain vibe that he has. I don't know, maybe it's just his, I don't give a flip attitude or what, but
yeah, I think
it works.
I think why I wasn't as into this issue as much is because so much of it's spent in this like hell dimension or whatever it is.
So it's the Sumerian afterlife, which is Urkala, which is the underworld.
Sure.
So I don't know much about the Sumerian gods yet. These are the ancient gods from which Black Adam got his power from. Them and the Egyptians. And so at first you have Ishtar, who's the goddess of love. I had to research this.
Yeah, and then you have this stupid name, Eresha Kagal. I couldn't believe like that was meant to be a name. Luckily she says that a little bit later, just call me Eresh. I was like, okay, fine.
Which is also, so she's a twin sister of Ishtar, and when you look it up, that she's kind of like in the way that Hades is also the name of the place and the afterlife. That's also another name for the afterlife as hers. So these are kind of like the proto gods, which is interesting. The fact that he thought he was fighting Darkseid, right? But we all knew it wasn't Darkseid because of whatever. That it's almost like he's being, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like Black Adam is being reforged through these gods, through this afterlife, because whatever is the sickness, it's almost like forming a cocoon around him, right? So, and then you end up with this, he fights the Bull of Heaven and ends up with Sargon of Akkad, who, when you look up, was apparently the first ruler in history of this empire.
Well, Well, this is the problem with this issue, is that the issue doesn't tell me any of this. I have no idea who any of these characters are. And I'm like, what's going on? Who are these people?
But you just get the fact that he's this, that this Sargon of Akkad is almost a proto Black Adam or champion, because he's not of the gods. He says, I'm the thorn in the god's side.
Yeah, he's got a cape on, he's got like a lion looking like a symbol on his chest.
He's got the lion crest, and he's got like these, they're not hammers, but they're like the heads of hammers on his hands that he uses to fight. And I was getting the vibe that this was like the first Shazam, right? Like this was their first champion, and this is going all the way back to, which I don't know. That's why I feel like it's a reforging of Black Adam, right? That he's lost his way and needs to be recentered on as the champion for these gods. So, but yeah, it was kind of just all over the place, and the stuff with the T was kind of lost on me. But that might have been because I was reading this so tired last night.
Yeah, I feel like you've forgotten something here. Do you not remember where he unmasks this guy and it's older Malik?
Oh my god, I did forget about that.
So this whole first champion nonsense, I'm not sure I buy.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because so he's fighting this champion dude, and he takes off the mask, and it looks like Malik but an old age. He's got grey hair, and that's in the last page, and then Black Adam wakes up in the hospital bed. Like I enjoyed all the scenes with Malik because I enjoy that character, and I think they're more straightforward in the sense that I feel like Priest did a lot of work, like, whether he knew it already or researched like these characters and these gods and like all this stuff. Like I appreciate the effort that goes into it, but this is not stuff that I think everyone reading this book, or even like a good portion of the people reading this book, are going to know any of. And I don't think it's introduced in a way where I really got like what these different characters were representing, or what the conflicts here were. It just kind of felt like a lot of fighting without much context once it got going. So it, like, I don't know, I found this one a little bit of a chore to get through in some ways. Even though the art's good, even though like I'm still enjoying the Malik stuff, and I'm hoping that this is just that done now, or at least if this does come back up again, there's a bit more context for it when it does.
I remember having similar issues in Deathstroke where there was just a lot of information thrown at us, and you would feel lost for 2 issues, which at this point that's Priest's style. And I'll reserve like harsh judgment if we get to the point and that doesn't still make sense, because Deathstroke eventually came around, right? Like pieces were going, but I agree. I did forget about him being the older Malik.
Well, because that's the big twist of the issue, and that kind of is what's teasing what's to come, is that Black Adam might now question if he should trust them. And it also begs the question, in what way, shape, or form could Malik grow up to be this person who's going to fight Black Adam, or end up in this place? Like, is he knowing what he's doing, or has he become kind of like a puppet of something? Or I don't know. Like there's questions here. But I have to admit, after 2 really solid issues, I did feel that this one left me a little cold and a little just unsure of what was happening. So I did not find this one that fulfilling, sadly. So that's a bit of a shame. Because I was into that first issue quite a bit, and mostly really the second issue. I hope it gets back on track. Because I'd hate to get to busy November and like all of a sudden the week's quite busy, and I'm like, that may be an easy cut if I'm feeling this conflicted by it come then.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still keep going because I need to know where this goes. But yeah, another maybe I'll give it till 6 for sure.
Sure.
But what's funny? So when I looked up Sargon of Akkad just now, I was reminded that he was the villain in the Scorpion King, right?
Oh Jesus.
So now that's twice that Black Adam that The Rock has fought in Sargon of Akkad. So,
Oh, bloody hell. All right, Matt, what are you giving Black Adam?
I'm going to give this one a 7.5.
Yeah, I think I'm going more like a 6, I guess. Yeah, I'll say 6, because they are still really good. I still like the Malik bits. So that's as high as I'm willing to go on this one, which is a shame, but that's Black Adam issue 3. So that'll take us out of the part of the show. We pick our favorite stuff of the week, favorite panel / moment, favorite cover, favorite art, and top 5 books. So Matt, what is your moment of the week?
Oof, okay. I'm gonna go from Nightwing, and it's gonna be when Melinda's bodyguard hits Blockbuster. So that was a fun moment. I like that one a lot.
Sure. I think I have to go with the ending of One Bad Day.
Riddler?
Yeah, it's just, I'm trying to think if anything else stands up to it, and I don't think anything does.
The only other one that would have came from me is when the widow leans into Bruce for comfort. That messed me up for whatever reason.
There's tons of moments in that book I could have picked though, but the ending is just like realized so beautifully and perfectly that
right.
that's what wins for me. All right, Matt, what you got for cover of the week?
I'm gonna go with the One Bad Day main cover with it's got Riddler's hat in green with the question mark in red. Like it's a really good image.
Yeah. I'm just looking through them now to see what I like. The main World's Finest cover is pretty good. I'm not going to pick it, but it's pretty good. I would also, I have to shout out that main cover for Black Adam. Jesus, it's so good. As much as the issue I thought was a little underwhelming, the cover did not skip a beat. The Gerads cover is really nice. Nightwing has several good covers. The main cover is great. The Nicholas Scott swimsuit one's great. The Jamal Campbell one where Nightwing's sort of like doing the splits in an alleyway up the buildings is great. I think ultimately...
Did you look at the Black Adam variants?
Yeah, I'm having a glance at them, yeah.
Gotcha. Because the Raza cardstock variant, very cool too.
Yeah, neat stuff. I think ultimately I'm going to go with the main Black Adam cover, but it was tough. Yeah. See, usually if there's a book that I didn't read, I'll usually look at all the covers when the other person's talking, but I didn't have that chance today, so...
Me either. That's why I went straight for the one that drew my eye, and that was Gerads Riddler.
So you got the thought-out process today. All right, what's your art of the week?
Mitch Gerads. Yeah, I would love to give it to Redondo, but just him and King together, it's hard to pick against. They work so well.
Yeah,
so
it has to be Gerads. It's just a fully fledged, like realization. And Gerads isn't as often as Redondo, so it's more of a treat well.
That's true.
So, no, just downright special is what I'd call that. Yeah. All right, top 5 books, Matt. Go.
All right, so number 1's going to be Riddler, One Bad Day. Number 2 is going to be Nightwing. Number 3 is going to be The Night. Number 4 is going to be World's Finest. And number 5 is going to be... Which one did I like more? I'll go with The Flash.
Cool. My number 1 is One Bad Day, Riddler. Number 2 is Nightwing. Number 3 is World's Finest. Number 4 is The Night. And number 5 is The Flash. So there you go. Simple enough. I will tell you now what is coming next week from DC Comics. We've got Nightwing. Oh, sorry. No, I'm on the same week still. That was a slip. All right, coming next week, you got Detective Comics 1063. We have Action Comics 1046. The Swamp Thing issue 16. So that's ending next week. That's a big deal. Harley Quinn issue 21. Batman White Knight presents Red Hood issue 2. Robin issue 17. Task Force Z issue 11. Deathstroke Inc. issue 12, Batman Fortress issue 4, Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes issue 15. Matt will be reporting on that, I'm sure.
Nope.
Tales of the Human Target issue 1. So we got that.
That's a yes.
Yeah, that's the anthology style sort of stopgap issue.
Yep.
And then we got Fables 154, Young Justice Targets issue 2, DC Mech issue 2, and Olympus Rebirth issue 1. So... couple of weird things in there, but excited for Human Targets, one shot, detective action, Swamp Things, big ending, Robin. So good stuff there. So that's what's coming next week.
And Human Target, you know what the teams are, right? It's Tom King and 4 artists. Do you know who they are?
I did when it got announced. I've forgotten them now. But
it's Kevin Maguire, Michael Janin, Raphael Albuquerque, and Greg Smallwood. If that doesn't win next week, I don't know what for art. I don't know what to do.
I mean, yeah. Like, what do you say to that list? I don't know. Perkins' final Swamp Thing issue.
Perkins is strong.
He's got a chance. He's got a chance.
But man, heavy hitters. That's the murderer's row right there.
Anyway, I will take this time to thank our Patreon producers for the month. So thank you to Tyler Hess, Cindy Palacios, David Sharp, Bruno, Christopher Moy, David Brown, Al Treisman, and Alison M. Fordyce. Thank you to you all. Thank you to all our patrons, of course. Thank you to everyone who enjoys the show. You can support it at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you would like. Or, of course, you can like, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications on YouTube, or rate us 5 stars and give us a good review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. You can ask questions there or use it to share us out on the Twitters. Obviously, spreading us around in any way is obviously greatly appreciated as well. That about does that. So thank you very much for joining us. We have, I reviewed the She-Hulk pilot earlier this week on MailFuzz TV, the YouTube channel. If you want to go check that out, everyone. I figured I'd plug something. Seems comic book related, so go and have a look. That is episode 319. Another one in the can on this long journey. We'll see you next week for another batch of DC Comics, and maybe Connor will be here. I have no idea.
That's a wild card.
I don't know. He's got Patreon books to do, so I think if he's going to be missing another couple of weeks, I think what he'll be doing is he'll be recording those reviews separately, and I'll just be editing them into the episode so that they're done. But yeah, he's been doing a lot of Friday, Saturday work days recently, so unfortunately he's not been able to make it. But he'll be back like a cockroach. He always comes back. So
like a bad penny, he always turns up.
Yeah. There's always another wave of the Connor COVID. No? Alright. That is the episode, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.